Hi, welcome.
I'm just checking in, and I have a service animal.
Service animal?
Do you have anything on the ground floor so I can let him out at night?
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Welcome back here to Winston-Salem. Prowlers and Thunderbirds getting set to kick off their final series of the regular season as we open up the month of April, and a huge test for the Port Huron Prowlers. But before we get to tonight's actions, take a look at the last games for these two teams. We start with the Thunderbirds, who fell 5-1 in this building to the Blue Ridge Bobcats back on Saturday night. They end up splitting the home-and-home weekend with Blue Ridge, but then they lose a 5-game win streak in the season series against the Bobcats. And after coming back in the third period to defeat Blue Ridge at Blue Ridge on Friday, they get blown out again here on Saturday. Mario Cavalieri only lasted just over half the game and gave up 5 goals on 28 shots. Meanwhile, for the Prowlers, they finished off a dominant weekend over their in-state rivals, the Motor City Rockers. 7-4 the final at McMorran Place. 9th straight win for Port Huron. They end up outscoring the Rockers 17-7 over that 2-game series if you add it up along with the 10 goals, season high 10, they scored at Big Boy Arena the night before. Lucas Lockney and Reggie Millette led the way with 4-point nights. Tyler Fox got his first pro goal, and the Prowlers, as I mentioned in the open, reached 30 wins and 90 points for the first time since Matt Graham took over as GM and head coach for the 2021-22 season. Yoshi was not too busy in net, only had to make 12 saves on 16 shots. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since we've taken a look at the entire FPHL standings, but that's what we get here. And we start in the Continental Division side. Athens, with a win last night, now leads Carolina by 5 points for the top spot in the division. They ended up splitting with the Black Bears the last 2 nights, and the Lobsters and the Bears off for the rest of this weekend. Columbus has clinched a playoff spot, and they're trying to stick in third place. Got a couple of big points last night against the Monroe Moccasins. Meanwhile, Blue Ridge and Baton Rouge right now battling for home ice advantage in what will be the 4-5 play-in game. Zydeco with 2 games in hand. If they get hot to end the season, they certainly could challenge Columbus if the Dragons end up slipping up in their final few games this year. The Zydeco certainly in a solid position to take that home ice advantage for the 4-5 play-in game, which will likely be between them and the Bobcats. Bobcats currently with 80 points, Zydeco with 77. I know the names are switched there. That is unfortunate. But the Moccasins still alive, hoping for a miracle, though, as they picked up just a point last night against the Dragons. On the Empire Division side, Danbury just 3 points up on Port Huron now for home ice advantage in the first round, the 2-3 matchup. Watertown further behind those two, but certainly still in the hunt as they have a couple of games in hand on both the Prowlers and hat tricks. Meanwhile, the Rockers sit in fifth. They have not yet clinched, but the Venom would certainly need plenty of wins and a lot of help to seal that final spot. We will go over the entire playoff picture for both the Continental Division and the Empire Division, much greater detail coming up in the second intermission here tonight. So, of course, you don't want to go anywhere here on the PHP Network. We have plenty of intermission entertainment for you when the teams are in the locker rooms and the Zambonis are out on the ice. Oh, Peter Panacek has certainly been around the FPHL for a while, and he will be on milestone watch all weekend long. 2 goals away from 100, 2 assists away from 200, and 4 points away from 300 in year 7 of his FPHL career. Certainly may have hit the milestones already had it not been for a 2-month IR stint from January to the middle of March. But he is back, and he will be back alongside his usual line mates, Peter Panacek and Jan Salak, making up that big check line for the Carolina Thunderbirds. Meanwhile, Lucas Lockney had an excellent month of March for the Port Huron Prowlers, as he ended up with 23 points on 10 goals and 13 assists in just 10 games. He's currently riding a 14-game point streak with 30 points in that span. Of course, finished off the month of March with a 4-point night on Saturday against the Motor City Rockers. Certainly does have a great case for March Player of the Month or even March Rookie of the Month. Those have both yet to be announced. Here we are on the 4th day of April. I got a chance to catch up with Prowlers assistant coach Chris Paulin ahead of tonight's game. And that is Prowlers assistant coach Chris Paulin. Let's take a look at tonight's lineup for the Port Huron Prowlers. Jamie Bussell and Adam Heinzel, the ones getting the night off tonight. Braden Simmons-Fisher is out, but because the Prowlers switched him to that collegiate contract earlier today, he is playoff eligible, so he is all set to go when the Commissioner's Cup playoffs come around, and he is able to rest up that hand that he hurt in the fight against Tristan Wells a week ago. Vinny DeCumbus moves to center, the spot that Bussell was occupying. He'll be between Tucker Scantleberry and Daniel Chartrain, who's back in the lineup after getting the night off last Saturday. Austin Federley is sliding back to defense. He's played back before in his career, not much this season, but with a loaded forward roster right now for the Prowlers, they need Federley back on the back end, and that is where he will be tonight, paired alongside the rookie Tim Organ. as the Thunderbirds finish up their starting lineup. Let's give you tonight's starting lineup for the Port Huron Prowlers. It will be Scantleberry, Chartrand, and Dylan Marty will join them to begin this game. Marty, the extra forward tonight. Ben Brockway and Brian Parsons will start on defense, and Reed Cooper. In between the pipes, we break for tonight's national anthem.
North Carolina Thunderbirds and Pregame Technologies in a moment of silence to remember the individuals who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Thank you. Pregame Technologies offers a comprehensive suite of industrial automation, integration, and motor control services. Visit Pregame Technologies at greatwork.com. This time, I'd like to welcome 16 new Lady Thunderbirds to the ice. All while the youngest team in their division. In the playoffs, they defeated the Junior Canes in a shootout here in Winston-Salem before going on to win the championship in Maryland and yet another shootout against the Potomac Lady Patriots. The Lady Thunderbirds offer teams for girls aged 6 to 19. If you or anyone you know is interested in joining, visit their table in the main lobby for more information. Thunderbirds fans, please help us honor tonight's special service member, Jody Strickland. United States Marine Corps. During this time, Sergeant Strickland spent both time as a primary MOS fuel specialist and secondary MOS marksmanship coach for rifle and pistol. Sergeant Strickland spent all of his time serving stationed at Kentucky Bay Marine Corps in Hawaii, during which he took part in 2 rims of Pacific exercises. The Carolina Thunderbirds, thank you for your service. We ask you to remain standing or move your accounts for tonight's performance of the national anthem. Brought to you by the American Elevator Company, being performed tonight by Andrew Griffin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of
That is tonight's national anthem from Fairgrounds Arena in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Prowlers and Thunderbirds will be underway in just a few moments. Let's give you tonight's starting goaltending matchup, as it will be Reed Cooper between the pipes for the Prowlers, with Valtteri Nusiainen still on the IR. Boris Babik will go for the Thunderbirds. Cooper coming in having won his last 4 starts, 5-0-2 in his last 7. He did face these Thunderbirds the last time these teams matched up at McMorran Place, making 28 saves in a 2-1 loss. Babick has won his last 3 starts and has been 9-0-1 in his last 10. Shut out the Prowlers on opening night, his only start against them this season. He leads the FPHL in save percentage, second in goals against average. Well, you know what? Might notice Prowlers wearing their alternate red heritage jerseys tonight, as the Thunderbirds wearing specialty white jerseys tonight that are a tribute to Team USA Olympic teams. The Prowlers wearing red on the road for the first time, and we're underway. It starts with a big hit from Tucker Scantleberry on Joe Kennedy. Oliver Baudouin, who was acquired from HC Venom, slides it across to Zach White. Now Kennedy looks to work up ice. On for Roman Kramer. Left wing side, it's Ford. Going to get a shot through to the net. Thunderbirds leader in goals, assists, and points, Gus Ford. One of the best players in the FPHL. Former FPHL MVP and forward of the year. Ryan Parsons slipped that one ahead. Reggie Millette on for Matt Graham. Top line out for Port Huron as Kennedy chips it along the boards. And the check line out there for Carolina. It's Peter Panacek with it now. Just puts it on net, steered away by Cooper. Lucas Lockney up for Millette. Has Graham joining him. 2-on-2. Millette working on the left wing. Throws on the brakes. Graham down below the goal line. Able to poke it along to Lockney. Slips it up top. Lockhart had some trouble with it, so he had to get it back deep. Graham tried to pop it out for Lockney, who was heading towards the slot. That was cut off by James Farmer. Lockhart down the boards. Shot on goal. That one off a stick and off the back glass. Comes all the way back down to Prowler territory, where Lockney slides it over to Fox. Just over a minute and a half gone in period 1. Drew Welsh in on the forecheck, trying to cause Nate Keeley some trouble. Farmer reverses it up this side. Dawson Baker, who spent a long time on the IR, recently back on this third line here with Nate Keeley and Jacob Schnapp for this shift. We have a whistle here. And a penalty coming up against the aforementioned Dawson Baker. So the Prowlers will get an early power play here, just under 2 minutes in. Baker, who was on the IR from January 14th to March 26th, over 2 months. Didn't record a point in 2 games last weekend since returning. Sits in the box for 2. High sticking looked to be the call. And the Prowlers send out the 8th ranked power play in the FPHL. Went 2 for 4 last weekend against the Motor City Rockers. Although there seems to be a conversation going on by the benches. Thunderbirds captain John Batista having a word with one of the referees. Tonight's referees are Ron Johnson and Ryan Muha, the linesman Matthew McMillan and Patrick Callan. Tucker Scantleberry chats with another referee over in the corner. Prowlers send out Matt Graham's unit. Of course, that's quarterbacked by Austin Federley, who, as I mentioned in the pregame show, has moved back to defense for 5-on-5 situations, although he patrols the blue line on this power play normally. Here's Alex Johnson. Working it up top to Reggie Millette. Graham right in front of Babick. Lockney back for Federley. Takes a look for Lockney, turns, shoots, and a save by Babick. 22 seconds off this Prowlers power play, as Boris Babick has his first save of the night. They made the stop on Lucas Lockney, one of the hottest players in the FPHL right now. 30 points over his 14-game point streak. He's a team-high 9 power play markers this year. Thunderbirds try and clear, kept in nicely by Federley. just flips it over to the near side corner. Millette after it. Thunderbirds pressuring hard. And Johnson couldn't bring in that pass. And it's Zach White working short-handed. Tried to chip it around Millette. The Prowlers got back in numbers to take it away. Minute 10 left on the Port Huron power play. They begin to change things up. Federley drops it back for Lockney. Gets around Schnapp into the offensive zone. Lockney cycles it around to the far side. Schnapp gets there first, and he swings it all the way down. Now Schnapp heading after it on the near side as it came all the way around the boards. Clay Keeley playing with it in his own end. And Kennedy almost gave it right away to Scantleberry, got a stick on it. Prowlers to work in the offensive zone, but Marty's pass got through Lockhart. 33 seconds left on the Prowlers power play. Lockhart over to the far side. Shirtstrand takes the shot and a save by Babick. And it's bounced all the way down. Lockhart hanging out behind his own net with 15 seconds left to go on the man advantage. Prowlers looking for one last rush on this power play as Marty hands it back off for Lockhart. Baker set to step out of the box to back to 5-on-5. Graham tried to center, puck was bouncing. Sharktran takes it, and Babick has it. He'll hang on. And now Jordan Gagnon getting the glove up in Daniel Chartrand's face. And Matt Graham tried to settle that puck down, took a funny hop off the stanchion behind the net. And Graham tried to settle it down and put it in front, but it bounced on him. It's been a hot, humid day here in Winston-Salem, and that certainly could play a factor in the ice conditions throughout tonight's game. Prowlers have the Trine line out there right now with Organ and Federley on defense. The Fox and Panacek on the draw. One back by Carolina, Lane King. Chased by Welsh. Tossed it just past Fox out of the zone. Fox back on it. Had it poked away. He's tied up with Pastuca. Now Welsh just does keep it in the zone. Down to Price. His rising shot stopped by Babick. He didn't know where it was, but he had it. The Trine line causing some trouble for the Thunderbirds, looking to escape their zone, and they get an offensive chance out of it. Bobby Price, the one with the shot there. All three of those guys got their first pro goals last weekend. Price and Welsh a week ago at Big Boy Arena, and then Fox last Saturday at McMorran Place. Oregon fanned on the pass. Here comes Pastuca on for Salak. Right wing side, working on Federley. Salak spins down to the corner. He's surrounded. Three Prowlers digging away for that puck. And finally, it pops out for Lucas Lockney. As a toss up to Millette, blocked down by Baudouin. Prowlers resetting their own end. Lockney leaves it for Austin Federley and heads off to the bench for a change. Parsons or Federley. And now he'll get things moving. Up for Scantleberry. Couldn't bring it in cleanly. Baker looking for Baudouin. That was out of his reach. Parsons up to Scantleberry. Tipped it in. Sharktran heading after it. He'll beat Kennedy there. DeCumbis cycles it down and around for Daniel Chartrand. Bounce up top. Parsons takes a look. His shot through. Sticked into the protective netting by Boris Babick. Still scoreless here in Winston-Salem. 14:20 left to go in the Munger Physical Therapy first period. We'll step aside here on the PHP Network.
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rearview mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
The Eastern Michigan Small Business Network, providing resources and funding to help start or grow your business. Small business support in participating Region 6 counties. Take advantage of the network's free training and events for entrepreneurs and small business owners. The Eastern Michigan Small Business Network aims to boost your chances of success. Learn more about the network's Small Business Cohort Program. With rentable workspaces, business coaching, training, and funding opportunities, it's time to become a client of the Eastern Michigan Small Business Network.
Back here in Winston-Salem, scoreless. And the Prowlers up on shots 5-1. They're 0 for 1 on their man advantage so far. We want to welcome in any Athens Rock Lobsters fans who may be here hate watching the Carolina Thunderbirds and rooting for the Prowlers this weekend. Lobsters splitting a couple of midweek games with the Binghamton Black Bears. Have a 5-point lead on Carolina. Thunderbirds with 2 games in hand, and those 2 games coming this weekend against the Prowlers. The Prowlers can take care of business in at least one of the games, and the Lobsters will get to stay atop the Continental Division. Puck lands for Ben Brockway, pushes it up to Fox. Tried to send Welsh in, but Kennedy got in between. Welsh taken in by Kramer. 3 Thunderbirds, 2 Prowlers digging away. Baudouin looks to come right back up the near side. Kennedy tried to move it up. His pass behind White, and the Prowlers take over. They'll regroup as they get some fresh troops on the ice. Parsons, 2-line feed, looking for Chartrand's stick. Scantleberry grabs it on the other side as there was no icing. Moved up the near side boards. Federley takes a look. Goes down, back towards Chartrand. Bounce past him. Penalty coming up against Carolina as Kennedy dumped Scantleberry away from the play right in the crease. And Scantleberry helmetless down on the ice. I believe Joe Kennedy be the one incurring the penalty. The Prowlers may be going back to their second man advantage of the night. Curiously, Dawson Baker is sitting in the penalty box, so maybe a little bit more for Joe Kennedy here. Austin Federley, the Prowlers captain, over at the referee circle, along with Thunderbirds captain John Butita, trying to figure it all out. I didn't catch the entire exchange. It was away from the play as Scantleberry and Kennedy were tied up right in front of the net. And now Joe Kennedy stepping back onto the ice. I believe he needs to get a stick from the bench over here. A little bit of confusion here on who's supposed to be in the penalty box, and actually it was Dawson Baker who took the penalty, so my mistake. Either way, Prowlers to their second man advantage of the night. I just saw Kennedy and Scantleberry tied up by the crease. I assumed it was him. And actually it was Dawson Baker, I guess. Oh, it definitely was Joe Kennedy. I think the Thunderbirds may have gone away with one here. Either way, though, Prowlers set back up on the man advantage. They're 0 for 1. There's Federley working on Schnapp. Out for Millette. Straight on. His shot deflected over top of the cage. Pastuca tries to clap it down ice. Just did get through Federley. Lockney turns the corner. Was walled off by a few Thunderbirds. Got to Millette. Tried to dump it deep, but off the stick of Gagnon and out of play. I think the Prowlers will get the better end of the stick here as faceoff seems to be in tight in Thunderbird territory. Indeed, that is the case. Port Huron sending out the power play unit consisting of the 4 trying guys along with Daniel Chartrand. Off the draw comes out to White, and he floats it down ice. Oregon on for Welsh. Enters the offensive zone, stops up and gets it deep. Chartrand and Kennedy come together. 2 Thunderbirds, 2 Prowlers in there. A couple players watching, and Carolina clears. They actually give Boris Babick the penalty for roughing. So that's why Baker is in the box. He's serving. So it was not Kennedy, it was Boris Babick who incurred the call. Here's Welsh coming out of the corner. In front, and a glove save by Babick. As Welsh got it all the way across for Bobby Price. And now Chartrand getting attacked by a few Thunderbirds. Feathers and fur flying in this battle between Thunderbirds and Prowlers, and now the rest of Chartrand's Port Huron teammates recognizing the situation, coming in to help out. It's like the main combatants here are Chartrand and one or both of the Keeley brothers. John Batista also involved. Everybody still having discussions before they're separated and sent back to their respective benches. 49 seconds left on this Prowlers power play. Port Huron going back with their first power play unit. The faceoff will be outside of the Carolina zone as the Prowlers defense came down to join that scrum. Off the draw, it's pushed back to Austin Federley, and Port Huron will go all the way back to set up the breakout. Federley starts up. Drops it for Millette, who in turn leaves it for Lucas Lockney. Graham on the right wing side. Gets it down deep. Comes all the way through for Alex Johnson. His dump attempt hit Lockney, and now the Thunderbirds are up shorthanded. Pastuca drops the shoulder, and a save by Cooper. Puck ends up behind the net. Final 11 seconds ticking off this Prowlers power play. They get it up to Graham. Got it down deep. Gagnon takes it, goes off the glass all the way down. Now we'll take care of the rest of the penalty. The top-ranked penalty kill in the FPHL doing its job here. Now they have a chance, but Kramer on his backhand just got it deep. White tried to cycle. DeCumbus got in the way. And Scantleberry able to toss it out as he took a hit from Gus Ford. Goes all the way down, icing waved off. Keeley took a hit from Dylan Marty. Ford couldn't bring that pass in. Marty leaving it for Brian Parsons. Weaves his way into the offensive zone, but offside called against the Prowlers, and Brian Parsons can't believe it. Well, the faceoff just outside of Carolina territory. Prowlers manage just one shot on goal on that power play. They are 0 for 2 again so far on the man advantage tonight. Federley takes a look. Over to Oregon, gets the red line, and he sends a cross-corner dump in. Batista moves it, and up comes Nate Keeley with Baker. Keeley swung it deep as he took a hit from Price. Physicality ramping up here, certainly, between these two teams that are now in different divisions, but they still certainly don't like each other. Rivalry does not die with divisional realignment. Oregon played it off the back of the net to himself, got it up for Price. Fox gets the red line, dumps it in. Prowlers get a wholesale change. That's the midway point of period 1, still searching for our first goal. Prowlers up on shots 6-2. Joe Kennedy waiting for his team to finish up a change. Now he steps out, watched by Scantleberry. Firing up the right wing side, but the Thunderbirds are offside at the Prowler line. 9.5 to go in period one. Still scoreless in Winston-Salem. We'll be right back on the PHP Network.
Welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you?
Can I please get a big...
What I need from you is a chicken Big Mac.
A chicken Big Mac? That's not a Big Mac.
Actually, it is.
It's not...
A Big Mac.
Chicken Big Mac?
Chicken bag, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and pickles on a sesame seed bun. Enjoy.
The chicken Big Mac.
It's not a Big Mac.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Hi, welcome.
I'm just checking in, and I have a service animal.
Service animal?
Do you have anything on the ground floor so I can let him out at night?
Back here at Fairgrounds Arena, Prowlers and Thunderbirds still scoreless. Shot 6-2 in favor of Port Huron. They're 0 for 2 on the power play. After the Carolina offsides, face off really just in front of the Prowlers bench. Thunderbirds currently leading the season series 3-1. Is the first of 2 this weekend, and they'll wrap up the regular season set. Pastuca went tumbling there, regathers his stick and glove as the Prowlers ice the puck. The check line will get an offensive zone face-off here. And it looks like they'll put it to Reed Cooper's right. Bit of a feeling out process, feels like, at 5-on-5 between these two teams. Of course, hard in on the forecheck, finishing hits. Thunderbirds trying to get their first real offensive opportunities of the game here. Farmer pushed it back down the wall. Salak tried to hand it off. Panachek shot eaten up by Reed Cooper. He hangs on for a whistle and a face-off. And the Prowlers make themselves a change. Dylan Marty taking Lucas Lockney's spot on the top line for this shift. Panachek and Graham in on the face-off. Tied up, couple players digging away. Salak had it taken away. And Marty has some space, he'll send it deep. Right in on Babick. He's forced to hang on with Graham bearing down on him. So the Prowlers playing the field position game here, get an offensive zone face-off. It'll be a top line against top line here as the Thunderbirds send out Gus Ford's line. Ford, Kramer, and White. You have Ford, who we already talked about, former MVP, former Player of the Year. Kramer, who has 62 points in 44 games this year and was a rookie all-star last year. And then Zach White, who has spent most of his career in the ECHL. That's a great top line to have here at the Carolina Thunderbirds. Marty sends it deep from his own side of center, so icing called against the Thunderbirds, and the Prowlers will have to keep these guys out there for this face-off back in their own end. Kramer red hot right now with a point in 8 of his last 9 games. White, 4-game point streak. Gus Ford, though, returning to the lineup as Kramer's shot just goes wide. Ford did not play last weekend against the Blue Ridge Bobcats. He returns to the lineup now. Prowlers get it deep, and they're able to make a change. King, right wide to Clay Keeley. touched in by Kramer. White and Brockway after it. Held up along the boards. 3 Prowlers, 2 Birds in there. And it's pulled out. Welsh sends Fox on his way. Trying to fly up the right wing side. Throws on the brakes in the corner, tied up with Baudouin. Popped out to the middle of the ice. Kennedy, long lead pass looking for White. Has him at the Prowler blue line. Spun it over to Kramer. Drags to his backhand, doesn't shoot. Kramer taking a look, had it poked off his stick out of the zone. Brian Parsons stayed right with him the whole time. Stretched on for Nate Keeley, tried to get to his forehand. Prowler's able to stymie that chance. Butita to the line, Baudouin across. Kennedy takes a look, and he shot right into the catching glove of Reed Cooper. The Thunderbirds pressing here for offense over these last few shifts. Getting some time in the Prowlers' end. And Nick Keeley take the draw against Vinny DeCumbus. Rimmed all the way around to the near side. Chartrand up for Skittleberry. Tosses it in on Babic, who just blockers it to the corner. DeCumbus able to pull it out of the pile. Up to the line. Organ floats it back deep. Skittleberry trying to spin away from Nate Keeley. Chartrand and Baudouin shouldering each other. Butita able to chip it past Federley out of the zone. Organ first on it. Federley heads up ice with some skating room. His team in the midst of a change, so he just dumps it deep. Chartrand after it. That was a check on Kennedy. Turnover. Graham tried to sweep it out in front. That was blocked. Salak fed it across to Baudouin. Skates into it. Gets the red line, but couldn't get it deep. Good glove by Brett Lockhart. Prowlers on the counter. And Lockhart sends it down and around. Babic sweeps it over for Baudouin. Salak able to chip it in. Farmer, the defenseman, heading after it. Cancels out with Alex Johnson. Salak up top, Farmer. Across. Shot through by Gagnon, and another easy glove save for Cooper. He'll hang on for another whistle and another face-off. The Prowlers make their change. Thunderbirds look like they are content to leave the check line out there for this offensive zone face-off. Pastuca lined up right behind Panacek here. They'd win it back to Pastuca, couldn't get the shot through. Welsh tries to send Marty out. Marty chases after that puck, couldn't sweep it on net as it just bounced over his stick. Puck popped high up in the air, gloved down by Brockway, and then he tried to dump it in, but hit his own man Welsh, and it hops over the glass out of play. We'll see where they put this face-off. Looks like it will be right at center ice with 5:40 left to go in the opening period. Off the draw, couple players tie up. Matt Graham able to come away with the puck. Played an area pass looking for Lockney. Instead, it's Lane King looking to go the other direction. Rink wide feed, White just gets it deep as Johnson closed on him. Johnson tried to turn it over, and Ford scores! Johnson tried to go up the ice, it was blocked. Prowlers got caught moving up ice, and Gus Ford gets an easy one-timer. Thunderbirds on the board first. First of the year for Ford. As the Prowlers turn it over right at their blue line. And Zach White all the way across for Gus Ford. No chance for Cooper on that play. Tucker Scantleberry looks like he wants to drop the mitts with Dawson Baker. Doesn't look like that will happen. And now Baker jumps Scantleberry and drops his mitts. And they end that one quickly, although Scantleberry doesn't want it to end. And they go back down to the ice again. So it looked like Baker might have had no interest in the fight from Scantleberry. So he lined back up, and then right off the draw, Baker dropped his mitts and started throwing punches at Scantleberry. So take that as you will. No ball tight to the penalty boxes. Referees having a discussion. They've already put down 5 each for fighting. Again, immediately off the draw after the Gus Ford goal, assisted by Zach White. So White, by the way, extending his point streak to 5 games here. And Ford, the FPHL's Player of the Month for February, as I mentioned, gets point number 78 on the year and goal number 31. It looks like we'll keep it 5-a-side hockey. Thunderbirds win the face-off back, and we're back underway. Kennedy up for Schnapp, touches it along for Nate Keeley on the outside. Spins into the corner, harassed by DeCumbus. Nate Keeley on his backhand, still got a shot away. He sent it wide. Brockway took a hard hit from Schnapp. Baudouin gives it back, and it's Joe Kennedy now, retreating back into his own end as the Thunderbirds regroup. Baudouin on for Pastuca. So gets the puck back. Pastuca's shot right into Reed Cooper, and he'll hang on for a whistle and a face-off. Gus Ford has gotten the scoring started here in Winston-Salem. Thunderbirds with a 1-0 lead will step aside.
At Hungry Howie's, we have a flavor philosophy. It's that you deserve to mix and match the most delicious flavor you've ever had with even more of the most delicious flavor you've ever had. But how can you mix and match the most delicious flavor twice at the same time? Well, we're not in the business of logic. We're in the business of blowing your flavor-loving mind with flavor upon flavor. Philosophize on that. Get any 2 items on the mix and match menu, including the 2-topping flatbread pizza for $6.99 each.
Hungry?
Howie's!
Temperature rising here in Winston-Salem. It was about 85 degrees today. Feels a lot hotter than that here in the Fairgrounds Arena. Plenty of physicality, and Dawson Baker jumping at Tucker Scantleberry off the face-off. Should be in for a good rest of the weekend here, as Matt Graham able to win this face-off back in his own end. Lockhart floats it along for Millette. Lockney trying to poke it through, came right to Babick, and he'll cover up for a whistle in the face-off. Lockney taking a look at the referee because he thought he had his stick slashed out of his hands. Port Huron making a quick change here. They'll get the offensive zone face-off in the try line out there. Actually, Lucas Lockney did get the penalty call he was looking for as Jan Salok's going to the box. So the Trine power play unit heading out there. All 4 Trine guys and Daniel Chartrand, third man advantage of the period for the Prowlers. And a chance for them to pull even. Oregon able to take control, got it deep, got it back. Oregon walks the line. Off for Welsh, takes the shot. It's blocked by Farmer. Out of play. And a bit painfully there for James Farmer as he sacrificed the body. So Salak does pick up the slashing call here. And the Prowlers, who are 0 for 2 on their power play so far, certainly would love to get one here before the end of the period. Poke back to the line. Oregon for Welsh. Back to Oregon. He retreats, floats it through, fought off by Babick through the traffic. Price and Fox digging away. So is Chartrand. A couple of Thunderbirds in there as well. Pastuca pulls it out. Couldn't get it out though on the initial attempt. And he weakly just gets it over the blue line. Welsh tried to turn it right back up, but his pass poked away. And Chartrand will take it all the way back. Prowlers begin a change. Oregon works his way up ice. Drops it off for Lockney. Right wing side, it's Millette entering the offensive zone. Got it down deep. Lockney cancels out with Clay Keeley. Millette up top to Federley, and he couldn't bring in that pass cleanly. Federley tried to leave it for Lockney, maybe put a bit too much on, and Lockney has to come all the way back for it. All this killing time, 35 seconds left on the Port Huron man advantage. Federley, back for Lockney. He skates into it. Graham to Johnson, tried one more pass across. That hit a stick, popped high up in the air. Couple players battling for it. Johnson able to control. Try to get it down for Millette, who lifts a stick. Millette turns towards the net. His shot stopped by Babick and ends up behind the cage. Graham across looking for Lockney. Babick got a piece of it. And a shot back on net wouldn't go for Austin Federley. Back to 5-on-5 as Salak working on Alex Johnson as Gagnon joining him. Salak all by himself. Now Pastuca comes in to help out. Johnson tries to go right up the gut. Graham floats it along for Chartrand just out of his reach. Icing waved off. King around for Clay Keeley. Throws on the brakes. And a minute 40 left to go in period 1. Carolina looks to work up ice. Their PK 3 for 3 tonight. Ryan Parsons, indirect pass, finds Marty in the neutral zone. He tosses it in. King played it right into Chartrand. Takes a look, goes up top to Lockhart, and he couldn't hold that one in. Lockhart with a quick up to Chartrand, and he got a touch on it. So no icing. Kennedy to White. Lead pass on for Kramer. Oregon looking to cut him off. Sent towards the net, batted around. Puck still loose in the slot, and the Prowlers just get it out. And that was a dangerous situation for Port Huron. Baudouin gets back to that puck. Just lips it out of the zone. Price trying to settle it down. Hands off for Welsh. Trying to fight through. Shot it right through the crease and wide. White took a hit from Price as he tried to move it. Alex Johnson gets it right off the bench. Welsh back in, but he didn't time it right. And he is offside at the Carolina line. 24 seconds left to go in period 1. And be sure to stick around for the Moses Rosa Smoke Break first intermission report here on the PHP Network. Take a look at Around the Empire, all of the scores and highlights from last weekend's games, not including Binghamton's trip to Athens the last couple days. We'll also take a look at some storylines from around the league, the out-of-town scores, and much more. It's all coming your way. Keep it here on the PHP Network. John Batista sends it down and around. Lockhart trying to poke it through Gagnon, and he does. And the puck squirts back to Cooper. Johnson reverse for Lockhart. Off the boards, tipped along, and it's Millette one-on-one against Farmer. Waits for help, drops it off. Lockney the one-timer, and Babick able to blocker it at the horn. And that will do it for the opening 20 minutes here in Winston-Salem. And it's the Thunderbirds with a 1-0 lead. Shots on goal in that opening period after the last one from Lockney. 14 for the Prowlers and 8 for Carolina. Gus Ford, the only one who has found the back of the net thus far. Well, once again, coming up on the Moses Roses smoke break. First intermission report here on the PHP Network. Take a look at the highlights from last weekend's games around the Empire. Look at some storylines from around the league, including a suspension that came down after the Prowlers and Rockers game on Saturday. Also take a look at the out-of-town scores, game stats, and more. It's all coming up on the Moses Roses smoke break first intermission report, and it's only here on the PHP Network. Well, the Prowlers celebrating 10 years in Port Huron. Now's your chance to get special edition 10th anniversary gear at the Prowlers team store. Located on the west end of McMorran Arena at every home game or online anytime at prowlersmerch.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen now to visit the online shop. Look your POHO best with gear from the Prowlers team store. 1-0 Thunderbirds through 20 minutes here in Winston-Salem. We'll be right back on the PHP Network.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Grab your friends and head to Bella Bola, a local pizza spot located in the heart of downtown Port Huron. Our menu is full of timeless favorites made fresh in our on-site pizza oven. Available for pickup or delivery. Just don't fight over the last slice.
Seriously not even that much better than you.
Should have just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it!
I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets.
At phprowlers.com.
I'm just checking in, and I have a service animal.
Service animal?
Do you have anything on the ground floor so I can let him out at night?
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
Well, welcome back here at Fairgrounds Arena in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Through 20 minutes of play here tonight, the Thunderbirds have a 1-0 lead on the Port Huron Prowlers, as Port Huron trying to extend its 9-game winning streak, the longest streak that they've had since the 2017-18 season, when they record a franchise record 24-game winning streak. One win away from their longest streak since then, so we'll see if they can make a comeback here and get themselves back in this game and get some important points in the Empire Division race. But before we continue talking about this game, let's take a look around the FPHL, and we start with our storylines from around the league from earlier this week. The Black Bears loading up for their cup defense as they get Blake Tosto back active earlier this week. He's been inactive since November. 22 points in 39 games with the Pensacola Ice Flyers of the SPHL this season, which is where he spent most of the year. Pensacola will not make the playoffs, so Tosto back to Binghamton to help out on their Commissioner's Cup run. He did score last night in the Bears' win over the Athens Rock Lobsters. Ross Bartlett has found a new home. He signs with the Baton Rouge Zydeco after being released by Mississippi last week due to a, quote, internal locker room issue, as per a statement by the Seawolves. He was leading Mississippi with 29 points at that time, and now he gets to be part of a playoff push for the Zydeco. He's also played for Watertown this year. That's where he began the season. It's some good depth scoring there for the Zydeco as they continue to push towards the playoffs. Cody Oakes suspended 1 game after he left the bench during a fight between the Rockers and the Port Huron Prowlers. And that was that scrum that ensued between Ryan Rotundi and Brett Lockhart that got everybody involved in the third period of Motor City's loss to Port Huron. He was originally suspended pending review, and they settled on 1 game. Of course, leaving the players' bench is an automatic suspension. That's what he got as a penalty in a game misconduct in that game. So he is missing tonight's game in Danville. As you'll see in a moment, Rockers not missing him too much. As we take a look at the out-of-town scores right now, they're already in the second period, just about an hour and a half north of here in Wytheville, Virginia. Bobcats with a 1-0 lead on HC Venom. Nick Stuckless, the only goal there, a shorthanded marker. That came back in the first. Watertown and Baton Rouge tied up at 1 goal apiece in a game that's very consequential for Port Huron fans, as the Wolves chasing down the Prowlers, trying to get that 3rd spot in the Empire. Scott Chirac has the goal for the Zydeco. Carter Thornton a goal for Watertown. And it's an important game for both of those teams in Baton Rouge. They're playing a 3-3 this weekend. That could seriously shape the standings and the seedings in both divisions. Hat tricks all over the Mississippi Seawolves in period one. It's 3-0, 2 goals from Gleb Bandurkin, 1 from Vadim Frolov, and all 3 of Bandurkin, Frolov, and Alexander Vasiliev have 3 points. So the Russians doing all the damage for the hat tricks early on in that one. Shots right now 7-3 Danbury, and they have scored 3 times on the Seawolves. Moving along, the aforementioned Rockers, Cody Oakless Rockers, are up 2-0 on the Dashers. Late stages of period one, Hunter Hall and Brendan Ronan have the goals for the Rockers. For Ronan, his first goal as a Motor City Rocker, the former Athens Rock Lobster. Matthias Tellstrom has assisted on both of those tallies. It is 2-0 Motor City as they try and inch closer to securing a playoff spot. Finally, the Columbus River Dragons, who defeated Monroe in a shootout last night, now tied up with the Mocs, 1-1 in Monroe. Cody Wickline has the goal for the Dragons, and Dustin Jasso has scored for the Moccasins. That won a 1-1 game, late stages of period one. Of course, here, 1-0 Thunderbirds through 20 minutes of play as we are getting set for the start of period number 2. Take a look at the stats from that opening period. Prowlers won the shots battle 14-8, but 1 turnover just inside their blue line led to 1 Carolina goal, and it belongs to Gus Ford. Prowlers also 0 for 3 on the man advantage in that first period, unable to take advantage of the opportunities given to them by some undisciplined play from Carolina. And certainly referees are not going to try and even it up, quote unquote, and give away makeup calls, but sometimes it can be human nature to be looking for one when a team has had 3 power plays and the other team has had none. So the Prowlers certainly have to be careful here the rest of the way. And again, unable to take advantage as the top penalty kill in the FPHL shut them down. Both teams have hit the ice here. We take a look at our PHP Network trivia question. Well, Carolina has made the Commissioners Cup final the last 2 seasons, has fallen both times to Binghamton and Danbury. We want to know, who did the Thunderbirds beat to win their only Commissioners Cup championship? Who did they beat in the final that year? So put your guess in the comment section. We'll give you the correct answer coming up at the start of period number 3. Boris Babik getting set in the goal crease down to our left. Made 14 saves on 14 Prowler shots. Reed Cooper down the goal crease to our right. He stopped 7 of 8 shots from the Carolina Thunderbirds. It'll be top line against top line to begin period 2 as Matt Graham gets set to draw against Gus Ford. Open the Hungry Howie's second period tonight. And we are underway. Brett Lockhart, lead pass looking for Lockney. Missed his stick and Graham's, but Babbitt came out to play it, so no icing. Kramer floats it along for Kennedy. White has Kennedy going in deep, sent it that direction. Graham takes over. Lockhart around to the near side. Lockney takes a look as he gets to it. Chip off the glass. Graham catches up to it. And Millette able to send it into the offensive zone. Baudouin off the glass. Gus Ford back in his own end. He fires it off the window, and Johnson got down to a knee to block it. Kennedy fires it in from the red line all the way around. Thunderbirds getting a change going. Organ takes a look. Off to the left wing side to Johnson. On for Millette. Has Scantleberry with him. Millette to the trailer to Cumbus on his backhand. Couldn't get to the net. Poked off his stick by Salak. That pass was too far in front of its intended target, Genyon. Salak working down the boards. Centering feed, catch and shoot, and score! Peter Panacek didn't pull it in cleanly, but once he did, he was able to rip it to the top corner, and the Thunderbirds have a 2-0 lead. Now, we mentioned in the pregame show, Panacek would be on milestone watch all weekend long. That's his 13th goal of the season, 99th for his FPHL career, and point number 297 of his career. He didn't bring it in cleanly, as I said originally. The Prowlers didn't close quick enough, and he was still able to get a good shot off from a scoring area. Early goal for the Thunderbirds. Makes it a 2-0 game. There's Baker kicking it along. DeCumbus steps in between. Nate Keeley able to wrestle the puck from him. Butita got back to it. Austin Federley retreating back to his own end. Organ, lead pass for Shirktrend. Now Baker looks to go the other direction. Butita at the red line. Tried to slip it through. Keeley's shot knocked down, and the rebound cleared away by Organ. Organ back for it. Watched by Nate Keeley. Organ takes a look up ice. Tried to float along for Welsh. Stolen away. Federley with the puck on edge. Just fires it down ice. No icing here. Baudouin up for White at the red line. Kept it moving for Ford. On his backhand, neatly poked off his stick by Brian Parsons. Kramer couldn't turn it on net. Now was blocked by Fox. Fox going after it behind the net. On towards Welsh, out of his reach. Sent back down low. Fox gets it out of the zone this time. Kennedy back in his own end, looking up ice. And the lead pass tipped into Kramer, but he has to come back for it. Prowlers were able to get the forwards off for a change during all of that. And the top line out right now as Kennedy dumps it around. Kramer tried to move it down deep. Play it right into Matt Graham, who tossed it out. Pastuca harassed by Graham. Got it to Panacek. Now for Genyon. Back pass for Salak. Another pass looking for Panacek. And Millette got back on the back check to keep Peter Panacek from getting a good shot off. Millette surrounded. And he dumps it around. Now Millette with a steal. Tried to wrap it around. But he ran into a Thunderbird. Johnson has to come all the way back for it. Goes D to D for Lockhart. Has some skating room, and he'll keep on chugging. Lockhart one-hands it deep. First one on it, and he moved it around to Chartrand, who canceled out with Nate Keeley. Johnson back in his own end with the puck. Came all the way through for Scantleberry. He starts up ice. His shot sticked into the protective netting, out of play by Boris Babik. First shot of the period for the Prowlers. Shots 2-1 right now, Carolina. And their first one resulted in a goal. Peter Panacek from Jan Salak. Port Huron playing from behind for the first time in a long time. They've scored the first goal of the game in every game of their 9-game win streak. Here's Schnapp. Getting to the red line, pushing it into the offensive zone. Nate Keeley pushed it around for Schnapp. Up to the top, King quickly, Clay Keeley sent it through traffic just wide. Hard carom off the boards, ends up on the far side. Clay Keeley sent it all the way through. Price and King both whacked at it. I'll be Price off the boards just out of the zone. King able to get back to Clay Keeley. Keeley gets the red line, sends it in deep. Oregon, lead pass looking for Price. That was cut off by Kramer, who read that play. Fox flips it along for Oregon. Got it out of the zone, and Baudouin after it. Prowlers quickly making a change. Baudouin gets to the red line, gets it in. And Alex Johnson tied up as he tried to make a pass, still on it. Lockhart controls behind his own net. 5.5 gone here in period 2. Thunderbirds with a 2-0 lead. Johnson finds it on his stick, tried to go D to Lockhart. He couldn't bring that one in. So Lock off the bench, stopped by Cooper, and he'll hang on. We'll take a timeout. Thunderbirds attacking in period 2, and they've doubled their lead. Step aside here on the PHP Network.
Welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you?
Can I please get a big...
What I need from you is a chicken Big Mac.
A chicken Big Mac? That's not a Big Mac.
Actually, it is.
It's not
a Big Mac.
Chicken Big Mac?
Chicken patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, and pickles on a sesame seed bun. Enjoy.
The chicken Big Mac.
It's not a Big Mac.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Live where you work. Work where you play. Is your work commute making you miserable? Quit the commute. Explore hot jobs in St. Clair County paying $40,000 to $100,000 or more. Visit stclairhotjobs.com. Spend more time doing what you love. If you're not currently living in St. Clair County, or you know friends or family that moved away but are ready to come back, then visit stclairhotjobs.com to find a new job and make the move.
Back here in Winston-Salem, Prowlers trailing 2-0. Thunderbirds getting goals from Gus Board and Peter Panacek. So the top line and the check line, both on the score sheet for Carolina. Check line out there right now for this offensive zone faceoff. Panacek wins it back. Salak spinning along the half wall. Johnson trying to move it. They finally do get it over to Brett Lockhart. Off the boards, couldn't find a teammate. And Gagnon just does keep it in at the line. His shot steered away by Cooper. Johnson cuts off a centering feed. His pass to Lockney took a hard bounce off the ice as if it was a tennis ball. Here's Milletta drive. And Babick able to get a piece. Not sure if it was as much Babick as it was the side of the post. A good shot there from Reggie Millette. Moved out of the zone by a spinning Gagnon. Pestuka off for Panacek. Shot off a Prowler and wide. I think that hit Alex Johnson. Then Johnson may have taken a stick up high. No penalty coming here, despite the cries from the Prowler bench. Pestuka hangs out behind his own net, and he leaves it there for Clay Keeley as both teams make changes. 7 minutes gone in period 2. And a little disturbance in front of the benches as teams were heading off. Puck pops over the glass, out of play, got past that protective netting as both Brockway and Baker were there, and those two now visor to visor. And they'll have a conversation as Baker came in and finished his check on Brockway. And that's what the fans were reacting to just a few moments ago. We got a new puck and a face-off deep in Prowler territory. Carolina certainly having the better of the play here in period 2. Not just with their one goal, but most of the play has come down in Reed Cooper's end. Off the face-off, Baker, a quick shot. And it's snatched by Cooper with the glove hand. We'll do it again from the same spot. Fox and Schnapp once again. This time Fox able to win it back. And Price chased by Baker. Welsh tried to move it along. Bouncing puck, and Oregon skates into it. He's tied up. King able to pull it away. And takes a look off ice. On for Butita, the Thunderbirds captain. Baker couldn't kick it up to his stick. And Federley clears it all the way down. The face-off will come all the way back down the Port Huron's end. Looks like the Prowlers are going to be able to sneak a player off on a change, as Drew Welsh went over to the Port Huron bench and Daniel Chartrand jumped out. They even chatted with the referees about it. Referees allowed it, so maybe an equipment issue here for Drew Welsh as Cooper covers that one up. Welsh is over at the bench taking a look at his helmet, so he may have had an equipment issue, and that's why they let him change. Prowlers will now be able to finish the change as they get the rest of Chartrand's line out. DeCumbus to draw against Gus Ford. Comes to the boards. DeCumbus looking to move it out. That's kept in. Kramer finds it, fires, and a glove save by Cooper. And the Prowlers continuing to deal with pressure in their own end. This is a Thunderbirds team that doesn't give up a ton of goals. Fewest in the FPHL at 116. Lowest goals against per game at 2.23. That's it. Prowlers, by comparison, are at 2.87 and a top 5 team in that category. A stingy Carolina team. We'll see if the Prowlers, whose offense has been red hot, can find something. But first they'll have to get out of their own end. White centered. Ford rose the one-timer up high over the net. Scantleberry tried to pitchfork it out. It carried him to the middle of the ice. Kennedy dumps it right back in. Lockhart reverse for Johnson. Back over to Lockhart. Sent it out of the zone. Panacek fresh off the bench. Able to kick it back. Chartrand trying to muscle off Panacek. Here's DeCumbus looking for Scantleberry. He'd opened up and couldn't bring that pass in. Chartrand back pass. Comes to Scantleberry. Drives it off of a Thunderbird and landed right next to the crease. Babbitt had no idea where it was, but Chartrand couldn't get a good stick on it. I think that hit Kennedy. Delayed penalty coming up. It will be against the Prowlers, slashing the call, and the Thunderbirds will go their first power play of the night. It was something away from the play, and Daniel Chartrand, the one heading to the box, much to the joy of the Thunderbirds faithful. So Carolina power play that's ranked 5th in the FPHL at 22.2%. Trying, though, to get back on track. They went 0 for 9 last weekend against the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Diving play by Marty, couldn't get it out as Pastuca used the glove to keep it alive. Panacek down deep, got it back, fanned on the one-timer. Alex Johnson tied up and he couldn't get it out. Panacek, watched by Marty, walks down the wall. Settles down that puck, I believe it was on edge. There's Pastuca, tried a back pass, and he got it back. Pastuca across to Salak. Now Panacek, Salak. Panacek again. So Thunderbirds continue to work it around the outside. Salak tried a seam pass. Now it's just behind its intended target, Nate Keeley. Salak pulls it out. Up high, Panacek loads and fires. That caught the back glass. Johnson settles it down, takes a stride, and floats it over top of Panacek all the way down. Prowlers able to hustle and get a fresh set of penalty killers out there. 49 seconds left on the penalty to Daniel Chartrand. Thunderbirds also with a new unit out as Kramer squeezes his way in. 3 Thunderbirds, 2 Prowlers digging away at that puck in the corner. They work it up top to Ford. Everybody spreads out. Schnapp turns towards the net. Sent it on goal, looking for Baker's stick, and they couldn't find it. White's pass out of the zone hit a stick of Federley, and it popped over top of the glass out of play. Faceoff will stay in the Prowlers' end. 16 seconds left on Carolina's first power play of the game. No shots on it yet. Thunderbirds making a late change here. They'll just send out a regular line and defense pair. Be their top line, Gus Ford's line, along with Farmer and Gagnon. It's like Gagnon trying to line up right at the top of the face-off circle. Not sure what the delay is here. Maybe we were supposed to go to a media timeout that we do not go to. Either way, we continue. Gagnon whips it down to Ford. Working along the goal line, now behind the net. Kramer down to Ford. Up top, Gagnon takes the shot, snatched out of the air by Cooper with 1 second left on this Thunderbirds power play. Daniel Chartrand will have to stay in the box as we take a break here on the PHP Network.
See that? That's what 100% mozzarella looks like. What dough made daily looks like. What fresh ingredients and 8 irresistible flavored crusts on pizza cooked to perfection looks like. It's so much flavor, we don't even know if it's legal to have this much flavor. Now you can get that famous flavor for only $8.99. Wait, a large one-topping pizza for $8.99? That's a deal. It's a steal. No, it's a crime. Just $8.99 for a one-topping pizza full of our famous flavor. Now that's how we do a deal.
Hungry?
Howie's!
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rear-view mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
Back here in Winston-Salem, 1 second left on the Thunderbirds power play. They are leading the Port Huron Prowlers 2-0 right now. And Prowlers facing some adversity for really the first time in a while. The last 3 weeks, last 6 games have been relatively comfortable victories. 4 against the Motor City Rockers, a 6-0 shutout win over the Mississippi Seawolves. Really closest game was a 4-2 victory over HC Venom, and even that one felt relatively comfortable as Chartrand steps out of the box. They're back to 5-on-5. Here is Chartrand speeding up ice. Thunderbirds back in numbers, and he dumps it in. He and Farmer come together. Moved around to the near side. White couldn't bring it in cleanly. Farmer couldn't get it out. Chartrand tried to send DeCumbis down with it. That didn't work. Got all the way up to White. Hands off for Ford. Flying in with speed, and Oregon with a good stick. Takes it off Gus Ford's tape. Fox trying to head after the loose puck, but he ran into Farmer. Long pass for White. Tried to get it up to Ford. Tried to float it across. That was knocked down. Federley dinks it for Oregon. Fox on for Price. Now Federley works in. Spinorama in front. Couldn't find a friendly stick. Now Price at the side of the net. They jam away on Babic, and they score! And now it all breaks loose. The trine line going to work in the dirty areas. And the work's still not done, but they've cut the deficit in half. Not sure who got the last touch on it. Welsh and Fox were there. Now Babick and Welsh came together. And we're going to heat right back up. Reed Cooper slowly coming out of his goal crease up to the blue line. See if Babick sees him. Reed Cooper with his helmet up at the Prowler blue line. Well, all this is going. Now Babick going out to see Cooper. Oh boy. Babick and Cooper having words from their own sides of the red line. Looks like that will be it. Jacob Schnapp going to the box. Bobby Price in the penalty box as well. All 6 players on the ice, and now Babick after Sharktran in the corner. Sharktran said something to Boris Babick, and we're not done. Referees have to get back control here as everybody starts skating back there. Luckily, nobody else engaged. Alex Johnson still with words for Boris Babick, as well as the referee. Still just Price and Schnapp in the penalty boxes right now. By the way, in case you forgot, the Prowlers scored to make this a 2-1 game. Referee pointed, the light came on. And then it all broke loose. Let's see what the fallout is here penalty-wise. The fans on their feet here at the NX. Or pardon me, the place formerly known as the NX, now known as Fairgrounds Arena. And if you think there's chatting between the benches still, oh, you would be right. Both linesmen over there standing in between to make sure nothing else happens. I hope the referees and the scorekeepers remember that there was a goal scored here. It has not been put up on the board yet, but I did see the goal signal. I did see the light come on behind Boris Babick. Austin Federley, John Butita getting the final words from the referees. Nothing has yet come down on my penalty sheet. Although there is 2 minutes up on the board on the Thunderbirds side with the number 35 next to it. So how about Boris Babick picking up his 2nd penalty of the night? That doubles his penalty total this season. Looks like the Prowlers might be getting the power play out of this. Be their 4th of the game. As Babick incurs the extra penalty, Schnapp and Price looks like they will cancel out. The Prowlers do have a power play unit out there. It's Graham, Lockney, Millette, Johnson, and Federley. And Dawson Baker steps in to serve Boris Babick's penalty. 2nd time Baker's had to do that tonight. They give Schnapp and Price each 5 minutes for fighting, and Babick 2 minutes for roughing. It's a 2-1 hockey game. Somebody should tell the in-arena scoreboard operator. And a chance for the Prowlers to tie things up on their 4th man advantage of the night. Austin Federley drops it off. Millette finds an opening on the right wing side. He dumps it around. Came off the stanchion, and Ford playing the home ice bounce. Able to send it all the way down. Federley Fake the drop. And now Graham enters the offensive zone. That's barely going to that. Johnson, a shot. Saved by Babick. The rebound pushed wide. Bodies flying everywhere. And the net comes off its moorings. As Graham found Alex Johnson in the slot. Babick fought it off with the glove. And Graham and Federley right there looking for that rebound. 40 seconds gone in this Prowlers power play. And they'll switch up the unit here. So correction on Babick's penalties, actually 2 minutes for goalie leaving the crease. Bobby Price has been given credit for the Prowler goal, although he was the one that passed it in front. Maybe he was the one who also got the last touch on, but right now they're calling it Price from Welsh and Fox. So the try line all getting in on that goal as a blue-collar goal for those three. Skettleberry takes a look at the net and peels back to the boards. Up top, Lockhart. Back over. Skettleberry down low. Short centering feed looking for DeCumbus. He was right-handed. That would have been right on his tape. And stays a lefty. And the puck goes all the way down. 57 seconds left on this Prowlers power play. Skettleberry hands off for DeCumbus. Fired it quickly across out of danger. Marty to Lockhart. Takes a look. And goes to Skettleberry on the near side. Working down the wall. Skettleberry for Lockhart. Marty, one-timer. That's blocked by Farmer. Had it caught up in his equipment. Marty ties him up. And Butita comes up with the puck and sends it down. 21 seconds left on this Prowlers power play. And credit for one shot on goal so far on it. Millette throws on the brakes. Tried a rink-wide feed. That was knocked away. Kennedy, chased by Matt Graham, fires it over to the near side. And delayed call coming up against the Prowlers. Matt Graham is going to the box for slashing. So just as Baker stepped out of the penalty box, Matt Graham will step into it. And now it's the Thunderbirds with a chance on the power play. Their second man advantage of the night. And after the Prowlers unable to tie it on their power play, Thunderbirds can take back the 2-goal lead. .5:48 left to go in an entertaining second period. Off the face-off, Brockway turns and claps it past Clay Keeley and all the way down. Keeley off for Ford. A rink-wide feed finds Kramer. All the way around to White. Down low, it's Ford, back to White. Clay Keeley for Kramer. Ford now to Kramer again. Clay Keeley, one-timer, it's blocked by Fox. Ford trying to force his way through DeCumbus. Gets it from White. Ford again, down to White. And he goes up top. Ford sent it through, and Cooper has that one, and he leaves no rebound. Under 5 to go in period 2. The try line has gotten the Prowlers within 1. There's still some penalty time to kill off. We'll be right back here on the PHP Network.
Explore the 140 miles of stunning shoreline along Lake Huron. That is Michigan's Thumb Coast. Discover charming coastal towns, serene beaches, and endless outdoor adventures. Stay at cozy hotels, paddle through pristine blue waters, and hit the fairways along breathtaking views. Plan your perfect getaway at bluewater.org.
Grab your friends and head to Bella Bola, a local pizza spot located in the heart of downtown Port Huron. Our menu is full of timeless favorites made fresh in our on-site pizza oven. Available for pickup or delivery. Just don't fight over the last slice.
Under 5 to go in period 2, 2-1 Thunderbirds here at Fairgrounds Arena. Minute 7 left on Carolina's power play. Chris Paulin before the game promised physicality and a playoff mentality, a playoff type of game. That's exactly what we've had here. Plenty of nastiness, plenty of physicality. These teams certainly don't like each other. Shot 7-5 here in period 2. Each team with a goal in the frame. Pastuca walks the line. Gives it to Panacek, who has a goal tonight. Panacek working along the half wall. Down low for Nate Keeley. Pastuca center point. Didn't get much on that shot as Chartrand closed on him. Panacek for Nate Keeley. Turns towards the net. Shot blocked by Lockhart. So Locke tries to cycle it deep. Lockhart got there first. And he got out of the zone. Panacek works down the boards. Now Nate Keeley. Round 2, Salak. Back for Nate Keeley. Lockhart right on him. Salak walks the line. Off for Nate Keeley. Takes the shot, and Cooper ready for it, and he hangs on. With 7 seconds left to go on the penalty to Matt Graham. Thunderbirds with 2 shots on this power play so far. It'll be Fox to draw against Gus Ford. They tie up. Comes back to the point. Ford kicks it back to his stick, but couldn't control. Back to 5-on-5. Ford floats it through. Knocked down in front. And White reacting to getting a stick to the face, and that draws the penalty call. So the Prowlers right back to the penalty kill here. A true balance penalty kill. And it's Ben Brockway, the one heading to the penalty box. So 2 minutes up on the board for Brockway. 3:39 left in period 2. Graham fresh out of the box. Will start this PK, taking the face-off against Gus Ford. Jumps in, off the glass all the way down. Jordan Gagnon, who's jumped into the play a number of times as a defenseman, quarterbacking this power play. Ford throws on the brakes. Harassed by Brian Parsons. Thunderbirds able to work it free. Kramer comes out with it, and his shot eaten up by the stick of Daniel Chartrand, and flies harmlessly over the glass out of play into that protective netting. .31 seconds gone on the penalty to Brockway. Austin Federley will take the draw. Again, Federley back on defense tonight. And maybe for the rest of the year, we'll see. Prowlers with a very deep forward group. And trying to get all their guys in there. Have opted to put Federley on the back end. Ford out high, one-timer, and a glove save by Reed Cooper. As Ford found Roman Kramer sneaking in from left point. He got a good shot away, but Reed Cooper's glove just a bit quicker. Tied up again. And Carolina controls. It's whipped over to Gagnon. Got it deep. Only one there. Wearing red, it's Oregon. And he fires it all the way down ice. Again, Prowlers wearing red tonight. Thunderbirds in specialty Team USA 1980 Olympic themed jerseys. Here's Gagnon's shot blocked by Parsons, and it lands for White. White takes a look, back to the point. Pastuco just ripped it wide, and Cooper snatched it as it caromed off the back glass. And Schnapp and Price being allowed to head back to their benches. Schnapp getting an ovation from the crowd. 40 seconds left, and the penalty to Brockway, the only one remaining in the box. Chartrand and Nate Keeley, the two number 21s on this face-off. Panacek down and around. Parsons try to move it along. Salak able to keep it alive for the Birds. Walking that blue line, almost gave it away, and the puck does stay in. Nate Keeley for Salak, and now Pastuca gave it right back. Keeley spinning on Johnson. Around to Panacek. Took a hit there from Parsons. Loose puck. Johnson tried to fire it down, hit his own man Chartrand, but Federley skates into it. Prowlers move in short-handed. Federley tried to slip it down low, couldn't do it. Brockway out of the box, we're back to 5-on-5. Final 94 seconds of period 2. Thunderbirds have iced the puck here. The Prowlers freshly back to full strength will get a chance with an offensive zone face-off. Coming up in the Moses Roses smoke break, second intermission report, we'll take a deep dive into what the FPHL playoff picture looks like coming into tonight, the first Friday of April. We'll also take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule, out-of-town scores, and much more. So keep it locked in here on the PHP Network. Panacek just claps that puck around the glass, knocked down by Salak. Prowlers take back over. Lockhart looking for Millette. Hassled by Panacek, puck hopped up in the air and over into the benches, out of play. It's an interesting playoff picture, certainly in the FPHL. You'll want to stick around so you can get up to date on what everything looks like at the moment. Again, coming into the games tonight, these two teams in fierce battles for seedings, although both of them have already punched their tickets to the playoffs. They will not face each other, though, in round 1, as they have the past 4 times Prowlers have made the dance. White got knocked down. There's Federley with a dump right in on Babick. He'll drop it off for Ford. Ford spun himself to the ice and able to get it around the boards. Baudouin for Kennedy. On for White. Baudouin back on it. Kramer throws on the brakes, lost the puck. Ford able to back him up. Graham just sends that one out of the zone. And an icing called against the Prowlers with 27 seconds left here in period number 2. The Thunderbirds get the offensive zone face-off here. It'll be Nate Keeley and Matt Graham, with Baker lined up right behind Keeley, trying to get a quick shot off the draw. They get it to Baker. He reverses over to Gagnon, working down the board. Scantleberry chasing him. Schnapp, jam play, in front, they score! It's Dawson Baker able to find the loose puck. And the Thunderbirds restore their 2-goal lead with 18.7 seconds left to go in period 2. Baker with his first point back off the IR. As first it was Schnapp jamming away at the side of the post, and Schnapp making an impact since he's returned from SPHL action where he was for a few months. And a back-breaking goal here for Port Huron. Final 10 seconds here in the period. Lockhart sent it through. Babick plays it over to the boards. Chipped out of the zone. And that's going to do it for 40 minutes of play as the Thunderbirds get one late to take a 2-goal lead into the intermission. Shots on goal in that second period, favoring the Thunderbirds 11-5, and the shots now tied up 19-19 for the game. The Prowlers, who got themselves back within a goal after the Thunderbirds took their initial 2-goal lead, now find themselves trailing by a pair as we get set for period number 3. Matt Graham and Chris Pauling, you can't see them on your screen, but they're just inside the blue line, 2 hour left, having a chat with the referees. Not sure what they're upset about, but I believe it is something related to that most recent goal. Austin Federley also having a conversation with another referee, trying to figure things out here. Now, both teams will head off the ice, and we will step aside here on the PHP network. But before we do, we want to remind you that coming up in the Moses Rosa Smoke Break second intermission report, we will give you the entire detailed rundown on the FPHL playoff picture. Also take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule, out-of-town scores, the game stats, and much more. It is all coming up here on the PHP network, so keep it locked in here as the teams sit in the locker rooms to get ready for period 3. Secure your seats for the Prowlers' next home game. That'll be a week from tonight, Friday, April the 11th, when they take on the Motor City Rockers. It's their final home game of the regular season, and with that comes Fan Appreciation Night. So come out to McMorran Place, be appreciated. Of course, Prowlers don't exist without you, the fans, so be sure to come on out, cheer them on, and get them set for the playoff season coming up a few weeks from now. That puck drop on April the 11th, scheduled for 7:05 p.m. You can get your tickets online at phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166, or by scanning the QR code on your screen now. That's online, phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166, or scan that QR code on your screen now to be part of the Prowlers' 10th anniversary season and be appreciated on Fan Appreciation Night. Prowlers trailing the Thunderbirds by a pair here in Winston-Salem. They'll need a big third period if they're to continue their season-long winning streak. We'll be right back here on the PHP Network.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Grab your friends and head to Bella Bola, a local pizza spot located in the heart of downtown Port Huron. Our menu is full of timeless favorites made fresh in our on-site pizza oven. Available for pickup or delivery. Just don't fight over the last slice.
Let's go! They're seriously not even that much better than you.
Should have just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it!
I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets
at phprowlers.com.
Welcome back here to Winston-Salem. Prowlers and the Thunderbirds, 20 minutes left to go, and it's Carolina with a 3-1 lead. Will Wiggleman here with you on the PHP Network. It is time now to do a full deep dive into the playoff pictures on both sides of the FPHL. And if you don't think I made graphics for this, well, this might be your first time here. And we start with the Empire Division, and of course the PHL Commissioner's Cup playoffs here on the PHP Network and for the Port Huron Prowlers will be sponsored by Proper 12 Whiskey. Proper 12, the official shot of the Port Huron Prowlers. We have not found our Proper 12 Irish Whiskey shot of the night, by the way. So we'll see if the Prowlers can get one here in period number 3. So again, we start with the Empire Division. Top 3 on the left, the play-in spots in the middle, and then on the right, the teams left in the hunt. We won't talk too much about the Black Bears. They've already locked up the top spot in the division, the top spot in the FPHL. They'll have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs, up to 137 points after the win last night. They will play the winner of the 4 versus 5 play-in game. So we move on to the races that are still up for grabs. And we start with the Danbury Hat-Tricks, currently holding that second spot in the division and home ice advantage in the 2-3 matchup, which right now would be the Hat-Tricks and the Prowlers. But their grasp is slipping. It's down to a 3-point lead on Port Huron. Hat-Tricks in Mississippi tonight and tomorrow night. Then they face Binghamton on the road next Friday. They host Watertown next Saturday. So that's the remaining schedule for the Hat-Tricks. And important to note, Danbury holds the head-to-head tiebreaker on Port Huron, which would come into effect if points, wins, and win percentage are all even at the end of the season. So Prowlers, to get themselves home ice advantage, would probably need to finish with more points than the Hat-Tricks, more than likely. So these wins are important. Port Huron will need a big comeback here if they are to get a victory here tonight. As at last check, we will check again later on in the break. The Hat-Tricks were up big on Mississippi. That brings us to the Prowlers. They have won 9 straight, pulled within striking distance of that second seed. They are facing the tough test, of course, here in Carolina this weekend. They go back to Michigan for a home-and-home against the Rockers, team they've dominated all year, next weekend. And that will be a chance to pick up 6 points. Will it matter in the race for home ice advantage? We'll certainly have a clearer picture after Saturday night's games and after the Sunday game for the Watertown Wolves. And as things stand right now, the Prowlers would match up with the Hat-Tricks again in round number 1. That does bring us to the Wolves, who have 2 games in hand on both the Prowlers and the Hat-Tricks. And if things break right for them, they could actually get as high as second place in the division, if you can believe it. Right now, though, they'd likely have to win out and get a lot of help to even get third place in the division. They're in Baton Rouge this weekend for a 3-game set, again tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. And that's a team that we will talk about in the Continental playoff picture, the Baton Rouge Zydeco. Next weekend, the Wolves, they face the Venom twice, Friday at home and Sunday on the road. That Sunday game, a rescheduled game from earlier in the year when the Venom were having home ice issues. Between those 2 games, they will visit the Danbury Hat-Tricks. So the Wolves 2 3-3s to end the year as they try and make a surprise push to one of the top 3 spots in the Empire Division. The Motor City Rockers seem pretty comfortably in the 5th spot. They have not yet clinched. They're the only spot in the Empire Division playoffs that has not yet been clinched. They do know if they hang on to that spot, they will be on the road in the 4 versus 5 play-in right now for the right to face the Binghamton Black Bears. Again, they still don't know who they will be visiting right now. That would be the Watertown Wolves. Motor City is in Danville for 3 games this weekend against the Dashers before the aforementioned Battle of I-94 home and home against the Prowlers next week. Finally, the Venom still hanging around, although they will not play all 56 games. They'll just play 54, so win percentage may become a factor if things do get tight. They may have played themselves out of that final play-in spot, though, as they got swept a couple of weeks ago by the Rockers. That was at the tail end of a 5-5 in which the Venom picked up 0 points. They do still technically have a chance. The Venom are visiting Blue Ridge this weekend for a pair of games before taking on the Wolves twice and the Black Bears once next weekend. Switch it over to the Continental Division playoff picture, and the race for the top spot in that division is tight. Currently held by the Rock Lobsters. We're 5 points up on Carolina thanks to a 3-game win streak, and the Birds faltering as of late. And the Lobsters split with Binghamton the last 2 nights, so they are off the rest of the weekend and get to do some scoreboard watching. He'll wrap up the season on the road next weekend against the Columbus River Dragons. And hello again to any Lobsters fans in the chat that maybe hate watching the Thunderbirds and hoping the Prowlers make a comeback here tonight. Carolina playing catch-up in that race for the top spot, but they are guaranteed home ice advantage in the first round because they have at least locked up that 2 seed. Of course, they are hosting the Prowlers this weekend, in case you haven't noticed, as that has been our game all night so far. And they certainly have a couple of winnable games next weekend against the Monroe Moccasins. Dragons have a solid lead for 3rd place and staying out of that play-in game, but like the Venom, they will only play 54 games, as the 2 that the Venom will not be playing were 2 home games against the River Dragons, and there was no good time for Columbus to get back up to the Hudson Valley area to reschedule those games, so they decided to cancel them altogether. So again, win percentage may become a factor if things get tight, but the Dragons did get a big win last night over the Monroe Moccasins in a shootout to increase their cushion. They have 2 more games against the Mocs this weekend, tonight and tomorrow, and they wrap up the season next week at home against Athens. Bobcats currently holding on to that 4th spot represents the play-in game host, but it's a precarious position as both teams behind them have 2 games in hand, the Zydeco and the Moccasins. They'll have to take care of business at home against the bottom 2 teams in the Empire. Venom twice this weekend, the Dashers twice next weekend, and they will need some help to guarantee themselves another home game at Hitachi Energy Center. As the Zydeco, if they win out and the Bobcats win out, Baton Rouge will have more points and they'll be able to host that play-in game. As Baton Rouge is in a nice spot, still need to take care of business though. Again, they control their own destiny when it comes to that 4th spot in the division. They will get past Blue Ridge if both them and the Bobcats win out, as I mentioned. And they still have an outside shot at 3rd. Now, Port Huron and Danbury fans behind them this weekend as they host Watertown for 3 games. And they will stay home for 1 game against Monroe next week, and then 2 with the Mississippi Seawolves to round out their regular season. We'll finally get to the last team in the hunt, and that is the Monroe Moccasins. Still alive somehow in the playoff chase, although they have left plenty of points on the board this season. 8 points back of both Baton Rouge and 11 behind Blue Ridge. 2 games in hand on the Bobcats. It seems like they would need to win out to have any chance of getting into the playoffs after just a point last night against Columbus. They have 2 more games against the Dragons this weekend before a trip to Baton Rouge for 1 next week, and then 2 home games against what will be a hungry Carolina team to wrap things up. Still plenty of races to be decided in the Commissioner's Cup playoff chase, and this weekend's games in Winston-Salem are big for seeding in both divisions. It's 3-1 Thunderbirds. Third period action is coming up next on the PHP Network.
Hi, welcome.
I'm just checking in, and I have a service animal.
Service animal?
Do you have anything on the ground floor so I can let him out at night?
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
Back here at Fairgrounds Arena, 3-1 Thunderbirds through 40 minutes of play. Will Wiggleman with you on the PHP Network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Before we get back to the action, take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Prowlers. They'll wrap up the regular season series against Carolina tomorrow night, 6:05 puck drop. Tune in here on the PHP Network. Then they return home next weekend to finish off the regular season with a pair of games against the Motor City Rockers. Friday at home, Saturday on the road. Friday is Fan Appreciation Night at McMorran Place. You can get your tickets at phprowlers.com/tickets. Now let's take a look around the FPHL with our out-of-town scoreboard. It may be curtains for the Venom as their playoff chase may come to an end tonight. Hunter Godmere has a hat trick. Bobcats up 5-0. on the Venom in period number 3. I have good news and I have bad news for the Prowlers. Good news is that the Zydeco are up 4-2 on the Watertown Wolves. Ross Bartlett, in his Zydeco debut, scored a Michigan goal, by the way, which is a heck of a way to endear yourself to a new fan base. And again, a 2-goal lead now for the Zydeco, late stages, second period. They're just wrapping up period 2. And Gleb Van Durken has completed the hat trick. Vadim Frolov has scored twice. It's all hat tricks. This is the bad news for the Prowlers, as Danbury all over the Seawolves, 7-2. 40 minutes down in Danville. Rockers with a 3-1 lead on the Dashers right now. And the Dragons also with a 3-1 lead. They're taking on the Monroe Moccasins. That one in period number 2. Of course, here it is 3-1 Thunderbirds. Take a quick look at the stats from this game so far. Each team with 19 shots on net. Low shot totals through 40 minutes of play, but the Thunderbirds have been able to find the back of the net 3 times. Prowlers just once. And the power plays a combined 0 for 7 so far in this game. And that was really the one struggle the Prowlers had last weekend against the Motor City Rockers, was the man advantage, but it has certainly looked sharp here tonight. So we get set to get back to the action. Look at our PHP Network trivia question. Thunderbirds have fallen to Binghamton and Danbury in the last 2 Commissioners' Cup finals. Who the Thunderbirds beat to win their only championship? That would be the Elmira Enforcers back in 2019. They won that best of 5 series in 4 games. Jan Salak scored the overtime winner at First Arena in Elmira. We're set to go here in the Scholes Family McDonald's third period. Reed Cooper in the goal crease, 2 hour left. And he has made 16 saves on 19 Thunderbird shots. Boris Babbitt in the goal crease, 2 hour right, 18 saves on 19 Prowler shots. Here's Drew Welsh taking a look. Goes to the trailer. Federley sent it through off a stick and knocked away. They've actually just credited the Thunderbirds with 2 more shots on net at the end of that second period. So make the shots 21-19. Chartrand and White tied up over by the bench. That will draw a whistle and an arm up in the air, and those 2 not done. White throwing a couple of punches, and then Chartrand tackles him down to the ice. And those 2 having to be torn apart here. White just went right back down. The training staff for Carolina hopping off the bench. And Chartrand with words for the Carolina bench as he's escorted to the penalty box. Although the fans here at Fairgrounds Arena want him to be sent to the locker room. Zach White still being tended to by the Carolina training staff, led by trainer Josh Linville. Both captains Austin Federley and John Batista are at the scorer's table, and White doubled over is being escorted over to the locker room. Oh, 2 referees and 1 linesman having a long conversation at the scorer's table. And some attention over by the Carolina tunnel from some of the Prowlers. I didn't see what happened. Nothing much seems to come of that. Nothing has come down on my sheet as of yet. We'll let you know as soon as everything does come down. We've played just 42 seconds here of period number 3, and already breaking loose again. And it was Shertrand and White going at it right in front of the Carolina bench. Nothing is up on the scoreboard either. So they're giving head coach Steve Harrison the explanation over on the Carolina bench, as well as Prowlers assistant coach Chris Paulin over on the Port Huron side. Matt Graham and Jordan Gagnon with just the red line between them having a conversation. They put 2 minutes up on the Prowlers side. See if they're still working or that will be it. Bobby Price has been sent over to the penalty box, so maybe Shertrand got an extra 2 here. And looks like the Thunderbirds will head to their 4th power play of the night. Things have began to come down on my penalty sheet. I'll wait till it's fully gathered before I give you all the information. And here we are, Daniel Shertrand and Zach White, 5 each for fighting, and Shertrand the extra 2 for roughing. So the Thunderbirds with a chance to make it a 3-goal game for the first time tonight. Their power play came in tonight, 5th in the FPHL and 0 for 9 last weekend. Trying to get back on track. Clay Keeley for Kramer. Enters the offensive zone, tried to send it across, got bounced back to him. Schnapp and Brockway tied up, and the puck goes deep. Johnson finds it, and he fires it all the way down past the leaping linesman. Clay Keeley for Kramer, rink wide feed, Ford tried to skate into it, that didn't work, here comes Federley shorthanded. Working on Keeley, Federley fires off the post and up out of play. So if Austin Federley went the other direction, they will give Austin Federley credit for a shot on goal there. Prowlers are getting an offensive zone face-off. A minute 15 left on their PK. The Thunderbirds have switched up their unit. Tied up, 2 players trying to come in for it, and DeCumbus just gets it down and around deep, waste a few more seconds. Salak leaves it for Pastuka. Panacek back to Pastuka, and now Salak enters the offensive zone. Puts it up top, Pastuka across, Panacek, Pastuka, Panacek again, Pastuka trying to make a pass across, and it was blocked by Fox on a knee. DeCumbus off to the races, but Pastuka able to get back quickly and get on that puck. Sent down ice by Marty fresh off the bench. Thunderbirds have to chase with 30 seconds to go on their power play. Panacek, rink wide pass. Kramer behind the net to Ford. Up top it goes. Baudouin down for Salak, gave it back. Baudouin taking Zach White's spot on this power play unit. As the Prowlers get one last clear, and that will do it. Price out of the box as he was serving the 2 for Shertrand. And we're back to full strength. Baudouin gets to the red line. Had it poked off his stick, and Welsh looks to go the other direction. Over for Fox, his shot blocked. And Schnapp looks to turn the other way. Kennedy Sends it right in on Cooper, and he drops it for Parsons. Price had Nate Keeley coming in on him as he tried to settle down that bouncing puck. Puck being played right in front of the Thunderbirds bench as they were in the midst of a change. Few players scrumming for it. It comes out. Kramer. It's in. Floats it to the middle, and Nate Keeley couldn't knock it down. Millette trying to work up ice. He's wrestled down by Nate Keeley. Prowlers bench wants a call they won't get. Johnson up towards Millette. And icing waved off despite Babic putting his glove up. Gagnon, a reverse for Farmer. Left wing side, it's Petita. Fumbled with it, got it back. But his pass off of Lockney's skate. Farmer having trouble with it. Here's Lockney. Didn't get much on it. Babic on the rebound, finally able to cover up. As a few Prowlers were in the area. Lucas Lockney couldn't get one of his good hard wrist shots off. One of the Thunderbirds came back, got stick on stick. The Port Huron forecheck causing some havoc there up at the top of the zone. Graham, Lockney, and Millette. Those three head off to the bench. We have a mixed line here. DeCumbis, Welsh, and Marty. I do not see Tucker Scantleberry on the Prowler bench right now. Port Huron seems to be playing a man down. Organ sends it in off the glass. Babic couldn't control it. DeCumbis fed it out. Welsh couldn't get to a shooting position. Centering feed hit a body. Pushed back down deep momentarily. Salak comes out with it. Pastuca gets it down and around. Federley off for Marty. Drops back off for Austin Federley, and now Tim Organ comes in. Tripped up by the referee. Salak pins it along the boards. Federley pushes it around to the near side. Beaudoin kept it in, only for a moment though. Marty with a good stick will force it out of the zone. And they say Tim Organ knocked it down with a high stick. That'll be a whistle and a face-off. When we come back, Thunderbirds with a 2-goal lead.
At Hungry Howie's, we have a flavor philosophy. It's that you deserve to mix and match the most delicious flavor you've ever had with even more of the most delicious flavor you've ever had. But how can you mix and match the most delicious flavor twice at the same time? Well, we're not in the business of logic. We're in the business of blowing your flavor-loving mind with flavor upon flavor. Philosophize on that. Get any 2 items on the mix and match menu, including the 2-topping flatbread pizza for $6.99 each.
Hungry?
Howie's!
Back here in Winston-Salem, indeed, I did take a longer look at the Prowlers bench. No Tucker Scantleberry. And the note I got from the off-ice official here to my left, she said that those down on the ice said that Scantleberry hit his head on the ice and wasn't feeling too good after that fight with Dawson Baker, where Baker jumped Scantleberry after refusing to square up. Well, Prowler's certainly hoping the best for Scantleberry, but he seems to be done for the time being. Chartrand still in the box. There's Ford trying to pull it off the wall. Taken back by Port Huron. Penalty coming up away from the play. Not sure who it's on. It seems to be against the Prowlers as Kramer shot to the net, sticked away by Cooper as Parsons takes control. The penalty is called, holding is the signal, and Ben Brockway seems to be the guilty party, and he is upset about it. 5th power play of the game for the Carolina Thunderbirds. And the fans here in Winston-Salem letting Ben Brockway hear it. The Prowlers short-handed again. Thunderbirds 0 for 4 so far tonight on the man advantage. Nate Keeley wins it back. Panacek up to Salak. Pastuka one-timer, and that one hits something on the way through. May have been Oregon, but either way, I don't think that got all the way to Reed Cooper. Pastuka at the top, walks the line. His shot held on to by Cooper. 20 seconds gone on this Thunderbirds power play. As now Zach White is allowed to head back to the bench. Chartrand still has to serve the full 7 minutes. White only had to serve 5 because Chartrand got that extra 2. That's what the cheers from the crowd were for. Zach White heading back to the bench. We got a face-off here between Nate Keeley and Austin Federley. Keeley wins it over to the boards. Salak up high, Pastuka gives it back. Salak across, Panacek centered, Nate Keeley shot, score! I think John Batita got a piece of that in front. It certainly changed direction on Reed Cooper. And the Thunderbirds make it a 4-1 game with a power play goal. #18th of the year for Batita. He snaps a 6-game point drought. 5th goal on the power play with Thunderbirds captain. And the hill gets higher for the Port Huron Prowlers here. Lockhart took a check from Nate Keeley. Johnson behind his own net. Going to make a pass out. That hit a skate. Didn't get to its intended target. Johnson back on it. At the spin behind the net, chased by Boutillier, the most recent goal scorer. Vinny DeCumbis off for Price. Now Johnson joining the rush. DeCumbis and Gagnon getting into it a little bit away from the puck. Johnson gets it deep. Welsh tries to push back up the boards. Had the puck taken away, and now Welsh knocked down. And whistles blow. A cross-checking penalty coming up. And it will be against the Thunderbirds. Jordan Gagnon, the one heading to the box. The Prowlers will get to go to their 5th power play, of the night. And their first one of this 3rd period at a big moment. Feels like a must score at this point. Trying to get back to that 2-goal deficit. Federley able to grab that puck. And Port Huron trying to set up here. Lockney for Millette. Takes the shot, blocked by Schnapp. A little bit painfully to get back in position. Millette's shot deflected over top of the cage by Johnson. Jordan Gagnon in the box, 2 minutes for cross-checking. Nate Keeley and Peter Panacek pick up the assist on the goal by Batita. And for Panacek, pulls 1 assist shy of 200 for his FPHL career, and now 2 points shy of 300. We did mention at the top that Panacek was on milestone watch all weekend. Lockney lost the handle. He's still able to get into the offensive zone. Lane King turns, fires, and Johnson gloves it down. Graham for Federley. Now to Millette. Lockney on the far side. Waits it down low, centering feed. Johnson swung and missed. Lockney taken in by Salak. 3 Prowlers digging away there. Graham finally able to pull it free. All right, a handoff for Federley. That wasn't a clean exchange. Thunderbirds trying to move it up short-handed. Federley able to beat Pestuka to it and regroup in his own end. 40 seconds left on this Prowlers man advantage. Bobby Price waits for Oregon off the bench and gives it to him. Welsh across to Price. Now he fires his way into the offensive zone. Price around the net. Able to push it through as he was knocked to the ice. Oregon for Welsh on the right wing side. All the way across, looking forward to Cumbus. Taking Chartrand's spot on this power play unit with Chartrand still in the box. Gagnon out of the box. This Prowlers power play is over and Price dumps behind the net. Bodies flying everywhere on top of that puck. Here's Oregon centering feed looking for Welsh. That didn't work. And the puck comes all the way back to Prowler territory. Both teams making changes. Nate Keeley on for Kennedy. Chased down by Marty. Kennedy able to get it deep down and around. Lockhart couldn't send it out. Was knocked down by Ford. Feeds it across. And Cooper shuts down Dawson Baker. Reed Cooper comes up with possibly his biggest save of the night. Keeps it a 3-goal game with just over 10 minutes left to go in regulation. The Prowlers unsuccessful on that last power play, and that is a tough pill to swallow at this point in the hockey game. Baudouin sets it through, save Cooper. Rebound over to the corner. Ford couldn't put it out in front, and now it's Graham as Brockway stapled Ford to the glass. Floater, Graham trying to track it down. Marty as well. Here's Graham looking to go across to Millette, and getting in the way of that was Roman Kramer. He gets it over to Baudouin. Baudouin makes a move, got to it on the other side, couldn't get a shot off. Put it out in front, there's a stickless Brockway, couldn't make a play on it. Prowler's able to get it out. Thunderbirds put it right back in, and it's Millette. Lead pass, kicked along, Price trying to go back to Fox, and then Price shown a seat by Clay Keeley. Fox throws a hit on Pestuka. That puck deflects into Prowler territory. Oregon trying to spin off a couple of checks. Pestuka and Federley come together. They tackle each other to the ice. Puck right next to them. Salak able to push it up top. Clay Keeley to King. His shot was going a couple feet over top of the net, but Cooper had seen enough. He gloves it down and gets a whistle and a face-off. 4-1 Carolina past the midway point of period 3 here in Winston-Salem.
EDA, providing local business support for over 70 years. And helping to boost our region's workforce, retain and attract talent. Working to grow the local economy and the flow of money into our community to help businesses be profitable and successful. Focused on improving the region's economic strength and quality of life for residents. To learn more about the EDA of St. Clair County, visit edascc.com.
Explore 140 miles of stunning shoreline along Lake Huron in Michigan's Thumb Coast. Begin your adventure on a blanket of golden sand at one of our serene beaches. Connect with the historic atmosphere of our region's nautical influence. and reconnect with friends under a blanket of stars. Plan your perfect getaway at bluewater.org.
Back here at Fairgrounds Arena, it's a 4-1 lead for the Carolina Thunderbirds. They're up on shots 7-4 in this third period, 28-23 for the game. Unless the Prowlers get the offense going relatively quick, their 9-game win streak is in jeopardy. They'll face a defensive zone faceoff. Jacob Schnapp out there right now. He's caused some trouble tonight, certainly, as he can do. He's a good disruptor in the hockey game, and he's someone that the Thunderbirds happy to have back after spending most of this season in the SPHL with Macon. Nate Keeley turns the corner, heads up ice. There is Schnapp. Heading back to it. Tried to one-handed along as he was knocked down to the ice. Lockhart off the boards. Chartrand hands off for DeCumbis. 3 Thunderbirds back. DeCumbis on goal, and Boris Babik with a little leather flash on a shot that was going high and wide. But Babik's certainly feeling it tonight. He's made 23 saves on 24 Prowler shots. Thunderbirds have picked up points in each of the last 10 starts that Babik has made. He has been red hot as of late. Thunderbirds as a team, as I've mentioned earlier in the broadcast, such a great team at keeping the puck out of their net. There's Lockney back in. His shot blocked by Clay Keeley, and that's part of the reason. Kramer turning the corner on Federley. Trying to make a pass out to the middle. Comes to Clay Keeley on his backhand. Trying to get it down to Kramer. Keeley and Millette cancel out. Federley on the loose puck. Trying to push it through towards Lockney. Instead, it's Oregon who pulls it out of the pile. Now Graham up ice with Millette. Gives it to him. Millette turns. Back for Graham. Sets it on goal, deflected. And Babik has it as he shut down his countryman Lucas Lockney. And speaking of streaks that are in jeopardy, Lockney is without a point tonight, riding a 14-game point streak into this game. Price lined up at the top of the circle right behind Fox. Brockway a drive through traffic, and that knuckler held onto by Boris Babik. We'll do it again. Tied up, Kennedy. Reverse for Pastuca. Off the boards, out of the zone. Panacek floats it over for Salak. Parsons comes and plays defense on him. And then Dylan Marty flew in for a check. And Pastuca after Dylan Marty. A penalty was coming up against Marty, and everybody involved. As Kennedy dragging a Prowler out of the pile, that's Ben Brockway. Salak and Parsons still tied up. Marty back to his skates. And it continues in the corner. A couple of players head over to see what's going on. The linesman just trying to get control of the 2 number 16s. Dylan Marty had the original penalty. He's stepping into the penalty box now. Finally, they're able to pull Salak and Parsons apart. And the fans here, letting the Prowlers hear it. Brian Parsons has been escorted off the ice. It looks like Jan Salak will get the door as well. So those two likely just with 10-minute misconducts. Pastuca and Marty sitting in their respective sin bins. And the captains, or at least Captain Austin Federley, alternate Captain Gus Ford, is representing the Thunderbirds this time over at the referee circle. In case you're interested, these two teams will be playing again tomorrow night, and I don't anticipate the temperature being turned down at all. We'll see exactly what the penalties are. Referee has the pen out, which certainly means we might be here for a while. Nothing has come down yet on my penalty sheet. 7:08 up on the big board here at Fairgrounds Arena. And all started on the big hit from Dylan Marty on Jan Salak. They were going to call a penalty on Marty. He stands at 5'10", 170 pounds, and has been a wrecking ball since the Prowlers signed him out of Chatham University, or Lawrence University. And he threw that big hit on the 6'4", 230-pound Jan Salak, 31-year-old FPHL veteran. 9th FPHL season, 7th with the Birds, and as we mentioned at the top of period 3, he scored the Commissioner's Cup winning goal in overtime against the Elmira Enforcers in Elmira, early back in 2019. Well, that's someone who will be beloved here in Winston-Salem forever and ever. Ford and Federley heading back to their benches. Nothing has gone up on the board quite yet. Gonna let you know exactly when we find out what the calls are. And now Joe Kennedy is over in the Thunderbirds penalty box. Well, maybe somebody needs to serve something for someone, and now another Thunderbird is heading over to the Carolina sin bin. They're having a conversation with Joe Kennedy. And now Kennedy leaving. And instead, it will be Zach White taking a seat. And Joe Kennedy has been asked to leave. He was the one that dragged Ben Brockway out of the pile along the ice. Well, the fans not happy with that. Prowlers going to the power play here. The only penalty so far on my sheet, they are working hard to my left to get them all in. The only penalty so far is Dylan Marty, 2 minutes for boarding. That was the original call. And then everything broke loose, begun by Pastuca. They've actually changed the Marty penalty to charging, by the way. Just for those keeping track at home. Get you the rest of the penalties when we can, but first, it is a Prowler power play here. And if the last one was a must score, this one certainly is. Millette sends it through, and it sticks to Babick, no rebound. So he'll hang on for a whistle and a face-off. That top unit out there for Port Huron. Prowlers are 0 for 5 right now on power play in this game. Johnson bounces it up high. Federley walks, moves off for Millette, on goal, and a save by Babick. Rebound pushed back towards the middle, and Farmer able to launch it to the line. Federley just did all he could to keep Gus Ford from going up ice all by himself shorthanded. Graham Spins in the corner, hands it off for Lockney. Has to deal with the referee right there. Out for Graham, across. Millette. Down low, Lockney. Takes a look, takes the shot. That's fought off by Babic. Millette. Down for Johnson. Back to Millette, straight on. His shot blocked partially. Came to Lockney. Puck bouncing around. And Babic able to get on top. Johnson poked at him, and that will start a riot. Schnapp and Federley tackle each other down to the ice. Everyone's got to be careful. Plenty of skates around the crease right now. They are halfway through this Prowlers power play. And Schnapp just pushed Federley. Babic is hot. Babic having to be restrained by one of the linesmen. Matt Graham barking at him, and then Schnapp just jumped Matt Graham and is throwing punches at the Prowlers head coach, and you can't do that. Oh, Jacob Schnapp may be in for a talk with Dave Jackson, the director of player safety in the FPHL. Oh boy, you talk about the list of things you can't do. That's certainly on it. Jacob Schnapp getting cheers from the Thunderbirds faithful, and now Schnapp challenging the Prowler bench as he's escorted off the ice. Having a chat with Brett Lockhart in particular. It's a yard sale over in the blue paint in Thunderbirds territory. Did I mention these teams play each other again tomorrow night? We'll have it here for you on the PHP Network, 6:05 start. Let's get you the penalties from before. Officially, it was Marty for charging. Salak, Parsons, and Pastuca all got 2 for roughing, and then Salak and Parsons an extra 10 for unsportsmanlike conduct. Alex Johnson is heading to the penalty box. I don't see anybody else from either side joining him. And now Chris Poland, you see him there on your screen, over top, chatting with some of his former teammates. And they are certainly not making dinner plans for tonight in Winston-Salem. Chris Poland climbing that partition, and the linesman telling him to get back to his spot on the bench. Lots more to figure out here for the referees. It is all breaking loose again here tonight. And again, I don't make commentary on things that players do. I let the referees handle that for the most part. I try and stay pretty even. I try and not make any judgments. I've been in the FPHL 3 years. You absolutely cannot do what Jacob Schnapp did. I also played hockey for a long time, not at any very high level, and I've watched hockey my whole life. You can't do what Jacob Schnapp just did. I mean, they were separated, and Matt Graham was barking at Boris Babic, and Jacob Schnapp, with a linesman in between, went at Matt Graham, threw a number of punches, and then down on the ground continued to punish Matt Graham. And credit to Matt Graham, I guess, for not doing anything back, as he could have certainly been goaded into a retaliatory penalty. I think he was just trying to protect himself, though, at that point. Graham, by the way, seems no worse for wear over at the Prowler bench for those concerned about his well-being. Fans serenading number 25 in red sitting in the Prowler penalty box. Alex Johnson, popular or unpopular, depends on who you ask here in Winston-Salem, but he certainly draws cheers and jeers every time he's here. And guess who started that whole thing? It was Alex Johnson. He tried to poke out a puck that Babic was covering up. And a whole mass of players went tumbling into the crease after that. And here we are with plenty more to clean up. Penalties are just starting to come down on my penalty sheet. First one is Alex Johnson, 2 minutes for roughing. That one's certainly a given. Also a given, there's much more to come. John Batista heading back to his bench after a conversation with the referees. Austin Federley continuing his chat with the men in stripes. It looks like a little beefed up security over by the Prowlers penalty box right now. Looks like Johnson has a 2 and a 10, roughing and unsportsmanlike conduct. So I am pretty sure Alex Johnson will be seeing the gate just as soon as they figure it out. Austin Federley has been sent to the penalty box as he was also involved. Dawson Baker will take a seat in the Thunderbirds side. So if you're keeping track at home, 3 players aside in the respective penalty boxes. And lots of work for the off-ice officials tonight. Still 4-1 game for the Carolina Thunderbirds. Just over 6 minutes left to go in the Scholes Family McDonald's third period. And we have seen live here the stingiest defense and stingiest goaltending in the FPHL. And certainly they've shown why they've given up a fewest goals in the league this season, have the lowest goals against average per game this season, pardon me. Prowlers have not been able to get much going offensively, and their only goal came from a blue-collar jam play by the Trine line as the puck came across the crease, and 2 to 3 forwards started pushing it and willed it over the goal line. That came back in period 2, and that's the only goal for the Prowlers. They've not gotten many, if any, clean looks at Boris Babic in tonight's hockey game. 5 minutes are up for Jacob Schnapp on the Thunderbirds side. So he may have picked up a 5 for fighting. And the Prowlers did not get a matching 5. So they will be on the power play here. It seems to be a 4-on-3. As that is the number of players skating out for both sides. Actually, Tim Organ heading back to the Prowler bench just for the moment. Brett Lockhart stepping out, so maybe it's a 5-on-3. Indeed, that seems to be the case. Well, Prowlers with a 5-on-3 for 59 seconds, and then they will be on the power play for most of the rest of this game. So if you have any hope of a comeback, if you're Port Huron, better get the power play going. And it starts now, 5-on-3, and off the draw, Farmer, chased by Millette, not able to get it down quite yet, and now he does. Lockhart back for it. Johnson and Schnapp, 2 minutes each, 2 and 10 each, and then Schnapp the extra 5 for fighting. Those are the penalties. Austin Federley still in the penalty box as well, so still more to come. Here's Lockhart, right downhill, goes over to Oregon on the left wing. Millette, 25 to go on the 5-on-3. Lockhart over to Millette. Down low, Graham, centered. Couldn't get it all the way through, and the Thunderbirds clear. 15 seconds until this becomes a 5-on-4. And Lockhart couldn't bring that pass in. Oregon across to Graham. It's now a 5-on-4. Or no, still a 5-on-3, pardon me. Millette, they let him walk in. Over to Oregon, one-timer. Lockhart fought off by Babic. Lane King able to clear it down. Oh, the Prowlers just got away with too many men on the ice there. Welsh works in. Walks back up top. Lockney to Price. And now Welsh. Up high, Price tried to send it through. It was blocked. But batted up in the air, kept in by Millette. Millette over to Welsh. Takes the shot. Save Babick. And the rebound pushed out of the zone. Fans clamoring, saying that the Thunderbirds should have White out of the box. I'm not sure why he's not. There's no other time up on the clock. Here come the Prowlers back in. Shot blocked and the rebound pushed wide by Chartrand. Up high up in the air. Price trying to track it down. Price down low for Chartrand. Up high back to Bobby Price. Chartrand across looking for Welsh. Couldn't bring it in. Now Fox dealing with Farmer. Welsh spins. That's to the corner, centered. DeCumbus had his stick lifted, and it's cleared out. Under 2.5 to go in this Prowlers power play. Boy, there are a lot more penalties to talk about. Lockhart, as I just took a quick look at my penalty sheet, Lockhart lost the puck, and it's sent all the way down. Looks like the top-ranked power play, or penalty kill, pardon me, in the FPHL. Trying to close out this game, doing a good job so far. They're certainly looking the part. Millette works around the net. In front, Lockney shoot, that's blocked. Cooper to the bench for the extra attacker. Now it's a 6-on-4 advantage right now. As Price rims it around, that hit the stanchion and stopped. Lockney came back for it. The Prowlers a 6-on-4 attack for the next minute 38. Millette into the offensive zone. Tried to float it down low. That was knocked out of the air by Farmer, and he gets it all the way down. Chartrand back for it. Watched by White, who finishes his check on Daniel Chartrand. Chartrand flies up the right wing side. Hand off for Graham. Graham across, looking for Lockney. Walks back up the wall, turns towards the net. His shot stopped the rebound, pushed wide. Millette couldn't keep it in. Here comes White with the extra, with the empty net. Millette spins him down, and he's able to keep White from cashing in. Chartrand on for Lockney with a step, and he pushed it wide on the back end. It comes all the way back down. Nate Keeley wins the race to it. All the way around the net, 23 seconds left on the Prowlers power play. Hasn't gotten much done. Chartrand and Nate Keeley tied up. And DeCumbus back for it. Thunderbirds putting on a PK clinic right now. Prowlers only have 4 on the ice right now. Butita to the empty net, that doesn't go. Now they have 6. Lots of confusion on the Prowler bench right now. Thunderbirds back to full strength as we hit the final minute. Lockhart for Chartrand. And the Prowlers can't complete that pass. Backhanded towards the empty, netted in. Dawson Baker puts it in the empty cage. That will seal the deal here tonight, as the Prowlers had all kinds of confusion over on their bench. They had the goalie pulled and were at full strength, and yet they only had 4 players on the ice for a solid amount of time. Alex Johnson is heading over to the locker room, as his night was over already, but he sat in the penalty box first. And that power play went about as poorly as it probably could have. And a disaster of the last couple minutes for the Prowlers in a game where they have certainly been humbled. Came in on a 9-game win streak. That will come to an end tonight. And for the first time since February, Prowlers will not add a point to their total in the standings. Brockway gets it in. 10 seconds ticking off the clock as the fans stand at Fairgrounds Arena. Daniel Chartrand trying to mix something else up as the horn sounds. The Carolina Thunderbirds beat the Port Huron Prowlers tonight, 5-1 the final. Shots on goal in that third period favored the Prowlers 14-9. They outshot the Thunderbirds 33-30 for the game. They have been served a slice of adversity, and we'll see if they're able to eat it and move on to tomorrow night. They'll be back here tomorrow night with a chance for revenge against these Carolina Thunderbirds. Puck drop started for 6:05 p.m. And the pregame show right here on the PHP Network is at 5:50. So be sure to tune in. And we'll see if the Prowlers can bounce back and figure some things out here. And Matt Graham is having an angry conversation with Kerry Ross, the owner of the Thunderbirds, as he heads off the ice down to my left. We will break, and we will give you the post-game show. It's next, right here on the PHP Network.
Seriously not even that much better than you.
Should've just got a ticket from phprowlers.com.
I should have just bought tickets at phprowlers.com.
I got it! I should have just got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
I should have got a ticket at phprowlers.com.
They should have just got tickets
at phprowlers.com.
Well, I guess we can add the Carolina Thunderbirds to the list of fans that try and chirp me alongside the Motor City Rockers, as I was hearing it from a couple of fans after tonight's game. 5-1 the final in favor of the Thunderbirds tonight. Time now to go back through this one goal by goal. Well, it was a pretty evenly played first period. Both teams got their chances, but a single turnover led to the period's only goal as Zach White fed Gus Ford with a rink-wide pass. No chance for Reed Cooper, and Ford put home his team-leading 31st goal of the year. It was 1-0 Thunderbirds at that point. They would not trail or be tied the rest of the way. Minute 18 into period 2. Jan Salak fed a pass off the boards out to Peter Panacek, who was able to corral it and rip a shot from the high slot to the top corner. And he made it a 2-0 lead at that point. Prowlers got one back. It's credited right now to Bobby Price. And although it was a jam play, it was some blue-collar work, and blue-collar work earns the Proper 12 Irish Whiskey Shot of the Night. as Bobby Price able to push it home, his second goal of the year, assisted by Drew Welsh and Tyler Fox, the whole Trine line, getting in on that one. But the back-breaking goal came at the end of the second, in the final seconds of the period. A jam play on the Prowlers' end, and it was finally put home by Dawson Baker. And Baker made it a 3-1 game heading into the third instead of a 2-1 game heading into the third. And that was important, as the Prowlers saw a higher hill to climb than they had before. They were one shot away, but then heading into the third, they were behind by a pair. In that third period, John Batista got in on the scoring as he deflected home a Nate Keeley shot. That was a power play goal. That one really put the game out of reach. Dawson Baker hit the empty net for his second of the night. Baker, tonight's first star with 2 goals. Boris Babik, the second star with 32 saves. And tonight's first star of the game, Peter Panacek with a goal and an assist. Tonight's Gunther Graphics player of the game is Bobby Price, who gets the goal tonight for the Prowlers. We take one last look at the stats from tonight's game. And the Prowlers, despite outshooting the Thunderbirds, come down with the loss. 0 for 7 on the power play, as the top-ranked penalty kill in the FPHL does its job, especially down near the end. We'll be right back, and when we come back, we will give you the out-of-town scores and wrap this one up here on the PHP Network.
Hi, welcome.
I'm just checking in, and I have a service animal.
Service animal?
Do you have anything on the ground floor so I can let him out at night?
We're on a mission to feed the future by helping farmers worldwide be more resilient, more productive, more sustainable for generations to come. Corteva Agriscience. Keep growing.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
Well, welcome back one final time here at Fairgrounds Arena in Winston-Salem. Prowlers fall tonight by a final of 5-1. Time now to take one last look around the FPHL at our out-of-town scoreboard. All the games have gone final except for one. Venom, I believe, are mathematically eliminated, and if they're not, they're pretty darn close. 6-0 they fall to the Blue Ridge Bobcats tonight. Greg Hussey with a 35-save shutout. Hunter Godmere, a hat trick to lead the Cats. Good news for the Prowlers in a night where they haven't had too much of it. The Zydeco did come away with a 5-3 win over the Watertown Wolves. The Wolves do not draw any closer to Port Huron for that third spot in the Empire Division. Bad news, though. The Danbury Hat Tricks did increase their cushion on the Prowlers for the second spot in the division, and led by their Russians, they kill the Mississippi Seawolves 11-3. Gleb Van Durken, 4 goals and an assist. Vadim Frolov, 2 and 4, Alexander Vasiliev dished out 6 helpers in that game. 11-3 the final. Rockers win big in Danville 8-2, and the one game still in action. The Columbus River Dragons up 3-2 on the Monroe Moccasins. One last reminder, please do tune in tomorrow night when the Prowlers visit the Carolina Thunderbirds, a 6:05 puck drop and a 5:50 pregame right here on the PHP Network. But for now, I'm Will Wiggleman. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the PHP Network.
Thank you.